who we are very glad to see among us today, which means that he's recovering or has recovered fully. So you are welcome, Honourable Deputy Minister. We also want to welcome the Acting DG, Advocate Timani, the CEO and the Acting CEO of SASA and the Acting CEO of National Development Agency, the teams, senior managers of the department and the entities of department. But I also want to welcome and greet the chairperson of the Public Service Commission. I know him as Professor. And you are welcome, Prof, and your team to this meeting, and the support for the committee here in Parliament are welcome, and thank you so much for organizing that we are here this morning. But honorable members, I also want to welcome and greet all our stakeholders who are here. We have the members of the media, we have, I believe, the members of the public, we have PMG, who is always here to record our meetings, and any other stakeholder who is among us this morning. You are welcome to this meeting. Before we start in earnest, I would like us to just take one moment of silence for prayer or meditation. Please, members and colleagues. Thank you so much for that. Since we have the members of the Public Service Commission, I would like for us, because we know us among ourselves as the department and entities and some of the media, but we have the Public Service Commission this morning. I would like the members of the Portfolio Committee to please introduce themselves. And we also have been, we are welcoming very warmly our new member of the Portfolio Committee, who is from the African National Congress and is replacing the Honorable Munyai. You are most welcome, member. You will introduce yourself as we go around introducing ourselves. My name is Bridget Masango, and I have the honor of chairing this committee, and I represent Gauteng. Some people think I represent KwaZulu-Natal, but I'm one of those people that are called Amagoduga. I'm an internal immigrant. Okay, over to you, Honorable Sharif.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Nazli Sharif, member of this Portfolio Committee, also representing Gauteng.
Morning. My name is Kemuzen Steny Ramaila from Limpopo, member of this committee. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Paulina Mahato from Limpopo, member of this Portfolio Committee. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm the new member here. This is my first meeting. I'm Thokozile Sokanyile from Eastern Cape, representing the African National Congress. I'm the whip of this committee. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Minister, the department, and everyone else. I'm Darlene James. Thank you.
Sanibonani, igama lami nguPrincess Nokwethemba Zulu Mthweni, ngibuya eKZN, ngilungu lale komiti yabonke.
Greeting everyone. My name is Nhlanhla Gwabaza. I'm from KZN. I represent Umkhonto Wesizwe Party and the people from the Republic of South Africa. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair, and good morning to the Minister and Deputy Minister and everyone in the room. I'm Shyla Peters, representing Gauteng and the Patriotic Alliance.
Good morning. My name is Honorable Christina Tong. I'm from the Northwest Province, representing...
Okay, thank you so much, honorable members. If I had time, I would say all of us must introduce ourselves. But I know that we do not have time. We still have a house to go to this afternoon, and we have the agenda to go through, which Lindiwe will take it. Thanks, Lindiwe.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to you, Chairperson, the members of the Portfolio Committee, the Minister, the Deputy Minister, and the Chairperson of PSC, colleagues as well, and stakeholders that are in attendance. Chair, my role is just to take the committee through today's agenda so that they can consider and adopt it. Chair, today is the 6th of May, 2026. This committee is constituted in terms of the National Assembly rules. Chair, the first item for consideration is the welcoming by you, Chair, and then we'll be confirming the members and officials. Chair, already the members have introduced themselves. It's safe to say that, Chair, we have 10 members out of 11, so which means they qualify for the requirements of a quorum in terms of Rule 162, subsection 2. So you are a quorum, and we can take decisions in this meeting. After that, Chair, we will receive apologies and adopt the agenda of the meeting. Thereafter, the Minister will provide an overview, and then after the overview, we'll just proceed to receive a comprehensive presentation from the DST covering the forensic investigation on departmental appointments, also a report on investigation by PSC on the ministerial appointments. Chair will also receive responses to media reports on violation of Public Service Act, as well as on alleged irregular appointment on the Minister's food aid. Chair, after this item, the committee will be given opportunity from 10:30 to 11:30 to deliberate and receive responses thereafter. From 11:30, Chair, to 11:45, 11:50, we'll receive a brief presentation from the Public Service Commission on the investigation report. From 11:50, Chair, to 12:45, the committee will also deliberate. Then we'll receive responses from PSC. Chair, from 12:45, this is an agenda item that was deferred from our last meeting. We will consider and adopt the draft first term committee program from April to June. 12:45, Chair, to 1 o'clock, you will provide your closing remarks, and we assume that by then this meeting will adjourn. Over to you, Chair, to facilitate the other proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindiwe. I would like to ask for the adoption of the agenda, please, from the members of the Honourable Sokanyile.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think I will adopt the agenda, but I was asking because I'm seeing the presentation by the Public Service Commission on the investigation report is there. I thought they will present, then if they want to go, we can allow them to go, except to say that they are part of all the deliberations that will be done in the committee. Then I don't have anything, because I wanted to say that why don't we give them first, they present, then thereafter we can allow them to go. But if they are part of the committee, then can just keep quiet.
Okay, you don't keep quiet yet.
Yes, I want an explanation. That's why. Sorry.
No, the agenda was shared with the Public Service Commission, and we've just confirmed earlier on if the agenda is okay with the PSC, because we invited them to be part of this meeting. They're not part of the committee, though. I heard the honourable member saying if they're part of the committee. No, they are part of the meeting, but they cannot be part of the committee, as you would appreciate, honourable member. I will want to confirm again with the honourable chairperson of the PSC, is the agenda item where you are speaking okay as it is, honourable chair? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Thank you very much, honourable chairperson, honourable members of the committee. We are quite flexible, even if we're asked to present up front and then deliberations follow, because our item is very specific. Thank you very much.
Okay, I need to then consider this, because the reason why, Honourable Sokanyile, I had the minister present first is because today is the day that she has been waiting to come and present to us. And then we invited the PSC as well. And as the Honourable Chairperson says, they are flexible because they have committed this time to be with us today. I wouldn't want to take away from the Honourable Minister's presentation by having the PSC present first. Do you have a follow-up to that?
No, Chairperson, I was going to say that if they can present and then we deliberate, then we give the minister thereafter. I'm having that.
Okay, the minister was invited. As you know, the minister is not a member of this committee, okay. So she was invited. So for us to take the time that we invited her to be here and then say, just chill, you know, we will have the honourable chairperson of the PSC present. I don't think it would be honouring the invitation.
Okay, no, it's fine.
Honourable Minister, am I representing you?
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to you. Although I would love to, however,
you're not.
However, I'm fine with your suggestion, so that the whole story is being narrated how it. Thank you.
No, then I adopt.
Are you adopt? Yes. Okay, awesome. The Honourable Sokanyile has adopted the agenda. Do we have a seconder? Honourable Mahato. Thank you so much. So the agenda will be adopted as is for this meeting. I just want...
Chairperson, thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to, just raise my concern, Chair, that this is the first time I'm seeing this presentation. And it's a pretty long presentation, and it would have been beneficial if we had received it in time so that we can interrogate it and really go through, and I'm talking about the specific presentation by the Minister, because I just went through it now, and there's quite a lot of important information here that I really had hoped that we had received it sooner so that we can apply our minds to it. That's the first one. The second one, Chair, is we also haven't received the PSC report. Now, I am aware that it's a draft report. However, it is a very important report. And again, it would have been important for us as the Portfolio Committee to be able to have that information so that we can interrogate it, so that when we come to this Portfolio Committee this morning, we come ready with information and with questions. Unfortunately, it now puts the Portfolio Committee on the back foot because, one, we have to take this information in very quickly without properly going through it, and two, it doesn't give us the opportunity to really prepare and ask the questions that we need to ask, because, like I've said before, Chairperson, essentially, the role of this Portfolio Committee is to hold the executive to account, and it's also to do proper oversight. And in order to do proper oversight, it's imperative that we get documentation in time. So, Chairperson, with that, perhaps you can just let us know what exactly happened, why we didn't get the reports, and what the way forward is. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Sharif. The answer to your question came in when you described the report as a draft report, which means that it's not a final report that can be publicly shared. And so the presentation by the minister is based on that report. So we had to come here to this meeting and share and hear the presentation by the minister so that we don't come already having maybe shared the report, which it should not be shared as far as I know. And so that is why the minister was advised that when she wanted to find out what then does she do, because this report is not final, and then she was advised that the presentation can come with her, present from it. I mean, we're starting, if all things go well, we're starting at 9:30, at 9:50 until 10:30. I would really ask that the honourable members follow the presentation and read the presentation as it happens and make their notes. I mean, it has happened before that we get reports as we sit in this meeting. I apologise if that consideration was an ill-considered one, but the fact that the status of the report itself is such that it could not have been shared in advance and the presentation is based on it. So you have, the minister has extracted information from the report that is draft to make this presentation to us, because as I will be outlining here, this report, it has taken longer than we expected, and I'm about to, if you just give me 2 seconds, to outline and contextualize this meeting and the fact that it happens today, Honourable Sherry, with your indulgence. So, honourable members, honourable minister, and honourable DM, and the honourable chairperson of the PSC, and all the colleagues in the room, I just want to contextualize this meeting. And the honourable Sharif has mentioned very rightly that on issues such as your APPs and your strategic plans and all such things, we make a point, and the department makes a point of providing those reports in advance, because the members need to go through these reports and ensure that they are putting their questions in advance. But this, just to, as I say, to contextualize this meeting, the committee content advisor and the committee secretary prepared. I asked them to prepare these notes for me. That the topic for discussion is on the media reports on matters pertaining to media reports on ministerial and departmental appointments at Department of Social Department. And they also provided me with the legislative framework, which I don't think I need to outline here, because everybody sitting here is aware of those frameworks in the legislative space, which is the RSA Constitution, Chapter 4, Section 55, Section 5 of the Money Bills Amendment Procedures and Related Matters Act, the Public Finance Management Act, and the Public Service Act number 103 of 1994. And the policy framework is the guide for members of the executive, which is known as the Ministerial Handbook, and the National Assembly Rules 227, the 9th edition of 2016. The issues for consideration by the committee today is the ministerial, 4.1 is the ministerial and departmental appointments at DSD. In October 2025, the committee was made aware of the media reports regarding allegations of irregularities in the ministerial and departmental appointments. The ministerial appointments related to the appointment of the Minister's Special Advisor, Mr. Nwago Khatla, and Private and Appointment Secretary to the Minister, Ms. Lesedi Mableja, who was later appointed as Acting Chief of Staff. The departmental appointments related to the alleged irregularities in the employment contract of the now former DG, Mr. Peter Netchipale. They also related to the precautionary suspension of the Chief Director, Communications, Ms. Lumka Oliphant, who was subsequently dismissed. Regarding the employment of the former DG, it was reported that the contract reflected a 5-year term contrary to the 1-year term granted by Cabinet. Regarding the appointment of the Special Advisor, it was alleged that he had a case of double dipping when he was employed at the Department of Women, Youth and People with Disabilities, and he failed to declare that when he was appointed advisor. Regarding Ms. Mableja, it was reported that she was appointed without necessary qualifications and experience. So in relation to the matter of appointment of Ms. Mableja, the Minister informed this committee that the DG had referred to the matter to the Public Service Commission for, and I quote, external and objective investigation and determination. Regarding to the employment contract of the former DG, she reported that, and I quote, the letter letter erroneously stated the term of appointment as 5 years instead of the 1-year approval granted by Cabinet. Regarding Mr. Khatla's matter, she reported that according to Section 12A of the Public Service Act, special advisors are appointed by the Executive Authority under the special dispensation and so do not fall under the department's disciplinary jurisdiction. The matter was referred to the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability. The department also informed the committee that it had commissioned forensic investigation on the departmental appointments. And the other matter was the National Development Agency. The committee sought clarity on the removal of Ms. Ruth Bengu as the chairperson of the National Development Agency Board. It also sought clarity on the appointment of Mr. Thabani Buthelezi as who was acting as chief executive of the NDA. The minister reported that Mr. Buthelezi was seconded to act in the vacant position of the NDA CEO for a specific period of time. She removed Ms. Bengu, exercising her prerogative powers in accordance with Section 6.4 of the NDA Act due to, and I quote, lack of board cohesion and failure to follow governance procedures when undertaking the process for the recruitment and selection of the chief finance officer. The committee processes on the 9th of October 2025. The committee received a briefing from the department on the above mentioned media reports. Proceedings of the meeting are contained in the committee's minutes. In that meeting, committee made the following resolutions. We would obtain an independent report from the Parliament's Legal Services Department was to provide periodic reports on the progress made and outcomes of the investigations to be conducted by the Public Service Commission. So on the 5th of November 2025, as per the resolutions of the meeting of the 9th of October, the committee received a legal advice from Advocate Jenkins, who is member of the Parliamentary Legal Services. Concluding on his advice, Advocate Jenkins advised that, and I quote, where the PSC has specific resources allocated to investigate and report to the Assembly or a committee, the committee should consider using those resources instead of seeking additional resources to duplicate the same task through another organ of state, including the committee, close quote. Advice of Advocate Jenkins was reinforced the resolution of the committee that it took on the 9th of October 2025. On the 27th of January 2026, as per its resolution on the meeting of the 9th of October 2025, the committee sent a letter to the department requesting a briefing on the update of the forensic investigation on departmental appointments and the Public Service Commission investigation on the ministerial appointments. The briefing was scheduled for the 4th of February 2026 in the committee's first term program. The department responded on the 27th of January 2026, indicating that it was not ready to brief the committee because the investigations were still underway. It then requested more time to ensure it is fully equipped to brief the committee. So the strategy and procedural advice, as far back as 2020, this committee, together with this Standing Committee on Health and Social Services, Select Committee on Health and Social Services, adopted an oversight model which involves a regular progress report on certain matters. At the time, the two committees conducted stringent oversights over the department's COVID-19 interventions. In 2021, the committee adopted the same oversight model when it was conducting oversight over the department's implementation of the North Gauteng High Court judgment, including its deadline to resolve challenges in the foster care system. In 2023, 2024, 2025, it deployed the same model when it conducted oversight over SASSA and Postbank payment challenges, alleged witnesses on the SRD grant application and payment systems, and card swap from SASSA Gold Card to Postbank Black Card. For example, also, this includes the committee also requested the department to respond to the report of the 3 million rand in New York that was allegedly spent in New York. It then made a resolution that the department should submit a detailed report with breakdown of all the expenses incurred for each person who traveled. We are still awaiting this breakdown. It is the same oversight model that the committee resolved follow on the meeting of the 9th of October 2025, which is being implemented as we speak. This model has proven to be an effective oversight model. It is therefore advisable that the committee continues with this oversight model unless there are new developments, such as an investigation, findings, and recommendations of an independent state organ, indicated otherwise. So, colleagues, I prepared this note so that I contextualize why it has taken so long. Because even with the media, they've been saying to me, "But what is taking you so long?" We're trying to do things in a way that provides each and every party that is implicated in the reports that come out in the media an ample opportunity for them to put forward their side of the story, do whatever investigation they need to do, or do whatever it is that they need to do, so that they can come to this committee with an advised or an informed, if you like, and substantive information for this committee, so that the committee can take the next step on the basis of that information. That is what I wanted to put forward to this committee before we start the meeting with the department. So, Honourable Minister, it is now your time to give us the overview before we start the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Once again, good morning to you. Good morning to honorable members, DM, ADG, the media. I must take this opportunity, Honorable Chair, to appreciate the opportunity presented to me by your good self. Indeed, Honorable Chair, I committed to this committee 2025 that I will go back and investigate about the issues that were raised at the time, and I even reported to say, because as a department indirectly could not investigate ourselves. Therefore, we needed an independent body like PSA. This was informed by the fact that the appointments that are under question were made by the department under the leadership. Therefore, there was no way to have that kind of that was quite acceptable. So this is why, Chair, I really want to take this opportunity and thank the committee. Chair, the process of engagement for me is to outline the status of investigation, disciplinary actions, and the unwinding of accumulated governance from what was picked up by the committee, by media houses, as we have correctly. Chair, I must upfront say I really appreciate the oversight and counsel from this board, the work in trying to assist in improving accountability, which is what is centered here. Chair, we also accept and support the rigorous public scrutiny that in fact might not compromise our formal administration. We feel good, Chair, that we come before this committee, come and before you and the public. On the Chair, we also want, as you have correctly said, want to appreciate and thank the public service that came in handy in making sure that this process unfolds. Whilst we did approach, however, we got to be informed that they also took interest on them. And this, I guess, Chair, without having spoken, this became one of the most urgent. We appreciate that. We don't want to imagine they are played on things that need as a democratic state. We're also grateful to find opportunity, Chair, do exactly what up. Chair, on the matters of consequence management, we do have a report, correctly as we have said. This is a provisional report. It does have provisional findings. I did receive this report on the 24th regarding the allegation of irregularity. Chair, we were given the right to reply, especially the officials, including the former DG. This is the report that suggested we should then give them an opportunity to make their own on what is provisional finding, which is what we have done with all of them. Chair, the response was expected earlier. However, we couldn't because of the transition that we had when our former DG left the department, received a new acting here with us today, which then assumed the office the 1st of 2020. This, Chair, created some delays in responding into this pertinent matter. And as such, we requested the PSC to give us an extension until the 14th of where we can then conclude all that we needed. I can safely say, Chair, we have done that. All of them have sent back their own, which we think we can make it before the 15th of May that we have requested as an extension from the Chair. On the follow-up on disciplinary process, those will be finalized upon the receipt of the final PSC. Chair, I must not get involved on the appointments officials, but you would know, and the committee members are aware, that that is which was the case, it is still the case even now. So the process of that is dealt with by the public. For us, it ends here until we get the report, where we'll then say what then do. And we must say, Chair, from the onset, we will act where we would have advised so that we deal with this matter and remove this perception that there are elements of corruption, and we are still going to do that. Chair, you would also know, members would be aware of the issues of the two vehicles that were donated. The matter, Chair, came before us as a parliamentary. This parliamentary question, Chair, was sent by one of our honourable. As per the norm, I responded to the parliamentary. And Chair, in that question, I made it clear that the cars were meant for the ANC. And this is why I did not. I guess there's a perception that I misled. However, I want to I did not mislead. The matter now, Chair, deposited to the Ethics Committee, which I have deposited my own affidavit to the matter is now at that, which I will request that we leave it until it at that. About the women's league, that's a political matter. I guess the political organ is dealing with. About the food aid, Ms. Noma Tamsanga Kuhlane. Chair, Ms. Noma Tamsanga Kuhlane was employed as a temporary food service aider under of the public service. Chair, on this salary that was, I can categorically say that Kuhlane was employed by department in official residence. When it comes to the payments, the daughter, Chair, I have no knowledge because Ms. Noma Tam straight from department to her bank. Ms. Noma Tamsanga, Chair, got ill. You got to realize then told she had, which is when she was in that between the two of them, they had, which I was not. When I asked Kanyisa, my daughter, she had no knowledge of it, except for them having stayed together, shared the two of them, which I have known. Noma Tamsanga was supervised by Chair. About the former, we parted ways out of her own, requested that because she had an illness of Twasa, she got to realize that she was overwhelmed. She was early. About the former house aid, I want to say, Honorable, my biggest apology. There were no formal contracts for these payments, and funds were transferred privately. I got informed rather than via, as I have already said, that she left through her Twasa, like she got overwhelmed when she was employed of the department. So, Chair, if I may talk about the precautionary and dismissal of former Chief Director Ms. Unga Oli and former Chief Staff, two officials at the moment, their matters are currently under. This is how far I go about their matter, Chair, was dealt with. The last day was the 3rd, where a preliminary regarding was dealt with. I can safely report that the witness certified on human resource process ministerial staff in line with this is done through the ministerial handbook that informs us on how we appoint. Chair, the committee will recall that there were parliamentary questions on the actual term of this also came through where one of our honorables asked what we responded to say DG's contract was a 1 year. It was a 1 year, Chair, because cabinet, remember, the powers to appoint however, the president subject. So the cabinet concludes on the end. So the cabinet excluded in giving the 1 year. Chair, this was informed by the fact that at the time, the former D was 64 years. Government have taken floats voluntarily, those who are 6 and allowed those 5. And municipality was 2. And all those, and the 1 year contract, former D. Chair, I was part of, because in my mind, I needed 5 years. Because when I joined, I came before this and assured you that this was informed by the fact that I joined a department that had active for more than, I joined a department out of 62 permanent and 5 were active. I joined a department, Chair, that had a CFO that was acting. I don't want to articulate the rest of position below because automatically you would know if it surely the chief director to act. So for that reason, I found that and I came through my AP and budget vote. I said that I'm ready to make sure that I stabilize the department by making sure that the priority appoint this as well as the strategy, especially those that budget. I also say I found a department that its structure was not confirmed for more than 8. So I found that department. I made sure that as we speak, the structure has been confirmed. We have now because he subjected the old to the as of the law that governs. So, Chair, this appointment for a year was hence I had to went and personally briefed. We have this out cabinet who got 1 year. Chair, going forward, as I have just narrated, question came just respond a year again. Responded a year. Then the question came from the third time that I am leading. I needed now to relook the actual question from where I was seated. I was part of the cabinet that I personally briefed because I needed. The cabinet was going to pronounce itself, but it was more human to talk to. So the question came once, twice, third time, I called for the actual contract. It's when I put my eyes that the contract was then a 5 year. That by the price. I called him to say here is the biggest anomaly was contract headman. It carried TGC. It also carried the PA's 2P. Because, Chair, it was I then called upon the then act to assist and take because my sitting was talking against I subjected that contract. The preliminary report gave me that which then wanted to further investigate how the nature was attached. And Chair, I'll speak on what when we look at DG, Chair, because it's the PSC that Department of that is a craft loaded. It is in fact they are. I speak about you more than anyone else. And my apologies, Chair. I'm not in you anyway. Department of I wrote for my asking spoke. He said I then said to because the error takes indeed Minister he wrote a letter. He also wrote ethics because the matter now was to ethics and the allegation of I have sled the parliament. He wrote the Renolias that contract. So this is the story about the contract. His contract was forever a 1 year. And this is why today, Chair, we don't have it because this last day in the department, the last day 20 because his contract. Chair, in the process of stabilizing the department, the matter of had to be close to find out. The report that I point to because of those allegations, I had to something because I was misled. People of the Republic were misled. The cabinet was under because I don't have powers. However, I had to write to him, having received, for him to make it on why I must not. This question was to then inform step going forward to say what do I then do after he did make his presentation, trying to explain whatever it was. The unfortunate the DG's letter was late, and the impression that was created time was that which was not I was asking that response lies. I then went to I was advised. I then followed that DG made his presentation. We were satisfied. We then said let the report. The DG's time came to on last day. He had to. What do we then do in case it was found on his? We couldn't because the matter is not. And when it is, we'll design ways if you find any ways back if the report will. So the matter of the the former is at that point and then say this is in trying to stabilize the department. As we're all aware that it's time come. On January, we wrote to advising time of wrote to await. The time came when we had to interact because it's them that advise. Chair, we got to be informed. However, in the office, we got to be informed. In fact, presidential minute before and already. And this is why, Chair, we left to wait for the presidential minute. Today, we can safely and proudly report that we do have and about today, or we have the position, the new deal. That is, Chair, about position, vacant position, what process we're following, and where we are. Chair, I guess I've covered that. The DG's vacancy, I've covered that. Chair, the work that we're doing, we are hard in trying to stabilize the department. We needed to talk with our partners, and we are hard at work because we've got a new structure, which structure has because of shrinking of the end budget. So we had to cut the cloth at the size. And cutting the cloth according to the size, Chair, affected the workers of. Hence, now we are hard at work in consultation with both the National Society of Office Bearers, because this matter is bigger than we are hard at work at the discuss how, so that we can find each other out of structure that we now have. That is cause it does to extend create some fears sometimes. No change does those, because workers must be always assured that their future is the correct hands, and we are doing just that, Chair, to make sure that there are no fears, because you know the history when there are fears in the department, sometimes the challenge. Chair, we're talking about partners, not only in how we are hard at work talking PSA, because DST more than 1 year. The statutory body were hard at work to talk to African Council of Social Service and Child Youth Care Workers. Because, Chair, this matter is a pertinent matter. You would know the social workers that are absorbed in those social of. You would know how people are looking after children who must be professionalized for them to analyze law, so that we are on the correct side, working with our partner. Chair, we are also working with elder persons forums, because they are also one of our most strategic orders, to make sure that we reach the same page with everyone in order for us to understand and to be understood in driving our money. Yes, Chair, with limited resources out of, so it's better when you take them, even though you cannot stop what they want to say, but you must make sure that you are always. Chair, we want to commit to say we are committed to have, we are stabilized, like we were almost there, except for the small set, which I can say I am extremely to make sure that the department is our partners, part of time, our decisions are informed by them, and Chair, our sister department are also part of. There are those that we avoid, and department women with ability. Those are the, but we have, Chair, we have crisscrossed. We've been all 8 to ICRO. We are taking all our service along for our who cannot go towns. We get to a township to village for them to walk to go and access their service. SASA is carrying us, Department of Home Affairs and all other. And only on Saturday, we're launching a successful event. Everyone, professionals, people accessing the service of SASA department. We were at Inkosi just last week. It's a successful gathering led by Mamu Mtsweni. She as chair. We've been in Tanyahu, where we were providing laptops to a school right in Mhlabuyalinga, extremely rural, a school with young teachers doing very well. Last year they got 7, and this year they got 24, 25. 26, 27, they drop it. We are working with that school, adopted that's very good young children. All of them, Chair, 100% their grants were in Eastern Cape, where now we are linking those who would have passed grade 12, who were beneficiaries of grant, to assist them, be linked in the tertiary, but those whom can be trained and are working closely with NDA in making sure that they are trained and others into relevant skills, so that they don't sit at home with nothing, but they are assisted to make sure that they lead their lives. That was it. I can assure you, Chair, with those limited resources, we're doing our best, and we commit we shall not fail you. We are hard at work. We'll come back to come and present our progress report on the audit finding as per our program according to 2025-26 LCSA. Already we have spoken to A about 25. They have indicated on where dangers are, and we are hard.
Excuse me, Chair.
Lastly, Chair, we want to confirm that even the AP that we've gone through the HA, we are proud to that. I really want to thank this once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for that presentation on the progress reports on what the committee had asked you to come and brief us on. Honourable James, I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut the Honourable Minister mid-sentence. Please go ahead.
No, that's fine, Chair. I actually wanted to cut the Minister because that's not why we're here today. We're not here to hear about the programs and the work that's been done. So I wanted us to stick to our agenda so that we can have enough time to probe and to have our discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable James. The Minister had up to 10:30 to present. I just didn't want to interfere with her presentation. She's here to present. She was presenting. I take it you are the first one to deliberate, Honourable James? You're not. Honourable Sharif, Honourable Makgato, Honourable Sokanyile, Honourable Bishop Mtsweni, Honourable James, Honourable, I've even forgotten you. Where have you been? Honourable Tlong and Honourable Peters. And lastly, the Honourable Rev. Where is he? Oh, did he ask you to say he wants to speak? Okay. Rev, and then we will close with Honorable Ramaila. Honorable Sharif.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Chair, thank you to the Minister for providing her. Chair, you must forgive me, it's a little bit difficult. I have a lot of things happen to the mic, so I'm just going to move my stuff around. So in the presentation that the Minister has provided us with, Minister, you speak about that in terms of consequence management, you requested, so you only got the PSC report on the 24th of March, and you gave the officials time to reply. You then go back to the PSC and you say that you'll give them a response from the officials on the 14th of May. Now, maybe this is a question for the PSC, so they can just hold on to it here, but surely I would imagine that through an investigation that you would speak to these officials and you would get their testimony. And so I'm not particularly sure what response is needed if they have already provided you with a response. So I'm just wondering from the Minister's perspective, what exactly was the need for this, and what is the current status of the final report, and maybe that's also for the PSC. Okay, so in terms of the cars, Chairperson, because that is with ethics, I think I will park that one for now, specifically around the non-disclosure of the cars and then registering it in your children's name. So I'll park that one because, as you correctly stated, doesn't necessarily fall within the purview of the Department of the Portfolio Committee of Basic Education. Now, Social Development, sorry, Chair, my mind is still in my previous committee. Then we get to the food aid. Now, my concern with the explanation that the Minister had provided around the food aid is that, was there permission granted for the food aid to move from Cape Town to the Eastern Cape? Because the appointment letter that we saw in the Daily Maverick specifically speaks about official residency. It doesn't speak about private residency. If so, who granted the permission for the food aid to relocate from Cape Town to the Eastern Cape? If the food aid was asked to be released to train in the traditional healing space, then why is she now pursuing legal action against you, Minister? And thirdly, if you look at the appointment letter again that was provided by Daily Maverick, it is on the letterhead of DSD. And on there, it says that there's a line item of Minister's house allocation of 7,670 Rand to be utilized for household, which would essentially be about half of the food aid salary. It's on a DSD letterhead. So this is in contradiction to the Minister's statement that she just provided to us now, that she had no knowledge of half of the salary being taken by the daughter. Chairperson, it's also rather concerning that the Minister throws her daughter under the bus in an open meeting, saying that the Minister had no idea of what is happening, but yet we have evidence that it is on a DSD letterhead. So accountability, Chairperson, is about saying, yes, this is what had happened. This is what the consequence management is. This is how we are going to move forward. Accountability is it's not my fault. It's their fault. It's his fault. It's her fault. It's his fault. It's her fault. And that's how I feel that this presentation by the Minister, where the Minister took no accountability for any of the scandals that she has just presented on. It's never her fault. It seems to be everybody else's fault, which is very concerning for me because in the beginning of her presentation, the Minister speaks about the need to be out for accountability and transparency, but yet that is not currently happening in this portfolio committee. Chairperson, moving on now to, and Chair, because I've got notes everywhere, so I'll keep coming back and referencing it. The Minister speaks about a forensic investigation on the DG appointment. What is the status of this? And are we able to see it? And perhaps we can request through you, Chairperson, that we request the Minister and the Department to submit that forensic investigation so that we as a portfolio committee can do oversight on it. Minister, you say that you did not know that it was a one-year contract. That you saying that you told the DG that it's a one-year contract and not a 5-year contract. And you are now saying that the DG went anyway to sign a contract of 5 years. So you are stating to the portfolio committee now that the DG went against your directive. But my question is, why did you not ensure that proper oversight was done? I mean, yes, the Minister might not directly appoint officials, but why was there no oversight done on it? Specifically around the DG's contract. Surely, if you were to sign a document or a contract, then you would have read it. Surely. You then go on to say that, well, it was an electronic signature, and you implied that one did not actually sign the contract, and possibly, perhaps, somebody used your electronic signature to sign that contract. Now, if that is true, that is fraudulent. And an investigation has to go into this, into who allegedly used your signature to sign the contract. Now, Minister, if you can maybe take me into your confidence, and if you can tell us about, okay, cool, he signed a one-year contract. and he worked in your department for a 1-year contract, that you never signed his contract or his appointment, and that this DG was simply working in your office without any approval from you? Because that is what I am getting. So I just like some clarity on that. Chair, the minister came with confidence saying that the DPSA misled her. This is a serious allegation. And I think it's important, and maybe this is an opportunity for the PSC, and through you, Chair, that the committee requests another investigation, or rather to add to the investigation around this, because the allegations, Chairperson, that the minister has given is pretty big. She's talking about fraud, she's talking about misrepresentation, essentially being lied to. And this is a very serious allegation, specifically for the public administration. And then, of course, for the food aid to also include a PSC investigation. Exactly what happened here, and I believe it will fall under the purview of the PSC. I have already written to the Public Service and Administration Committee Chairperson to ask for this investigation. So it is coming your way, but I thought it's important for me to just raise it in this meeting at the same time. Now, Chairperson, if it's correct that the DG and the DPSA misled the minister, well, it seems like everybody's misleading you, Minister. Everybody in your staff is misleading you, from the department to the ministry. Zonke, they are all misleading you. And that for me is a problem, Chairperson, because it shows and it points to a trend that perhaps you do not have a grip on what is actually taking place in your department and within the ministry. And unfortunately, Chairperson, and I am protected in this committee, it does point that perhaps you are not fit to hold office of Minister of the Social Development Department. If you are constantly being misled by everybody around you, it raises serious concerns of your effectiveness as the Minister of Social Development. Now, Chairperson, the minister then speaks about, on slide 15 of the presentation, the last point, the minister says, for that matter, I never instituted any disciplinary processes on the former DG. And I would like to say that this is a misrepresentation of what actually happened. The Daily Maverick printed or spoke to a letter from the president that was directed to you, Minister, on the 12th of March, where he speaks specifically about the fact that it is in the president's purview to institute disciplinary action amongst DGs, or suspending, or even advertisement and appointment of the DGs. And in this letter, he speaks specifically around it. So surely you would have known about this. Also on the 14th of October, the Department of Social Development wrote to the DG, letting him know that there will be disciplinary proceedings happening towards him. So with this evidence, Chairperson, I put it to you that the minister has misrepresented in this portfolio committee, and that she's not being categorically factual with the truth. And how we move forward on this, Chairperson, I will be guided by you. But given that the minister said she never instituted disciplinary hearings, but we have evidence that there was an attempt at least to institute disciplinary hearings, is clear case that the minister misrepresented facts to this portfolio committee. Now, Chairperson, let's say it was true that the minister didn't institute processes. Why then did the president feel the need to write to her? Specifically, the president said the letter that was not dated. This is damning letter and evidence to show that what the minister is saying is not correct. Something that we were wondering about, and something that I was really thinking about while the minister was going through her presentation, is that you speak about stabilizing the department, which I agree with. The Department of Social Development is the most, in my opinion, the most important department in South Africa, because you are dealing with the most vulnerable of people in this country. People who are just looking to live a life of dignity, who want to be freed from the shackles of poverty, of substance abuse, of violence. And so the stabilization of this department is of priority. So why did you agree to appoint a DG for 1 year when you knew that he wasn't able to stay at the department for 5 years? Why did you appoint him for 1 year when you knew that cabinet said he can only work for 1 year? How is that stabilizing the department? How? Because it doesn't make sense that if you knew that he can only be here for 1 year, then surely who is going to serve for the other 4 years? Because there seems to be a constant acting of positions in this department. How then do you come here to Parliament and say that you want to stabilize the department when the evidence shows that actually stabilization was not something that you were serious about, because you appointed an acting DG for 1 year and not for the full 5 years? Chairperson, you know, out of
Honourable, I'm so sorry to do this to you.
No problem.
We have a full house.
No problem, Chair. It's my last point, Chair.
Okay.
And I'll keep it very brief, Chair. But apart from all of the scandals, I think personally the food aid one is the most heartbreaking one. Because you come here and you say, it's not my fault, I didn't know, it must be my daughter, it was between them. When you take people and you employ them, you treat them with respect. You treat them the dignity that they deserve. And to force somebody who had just gotten an opportunity to improve their lives and to improve the lives of their family and take half of her salary It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. This department is meant to protect the most vulnerable, protect women. But you did not do that. You put this woman in the firing line and she was forced to pay money back into your pockets. Chairperson, that is not okay. It is not okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sharif. I can't hear you, ma'am. Just put your mic here. Just get closer to your mic.
Thank you, Chairperson. Maybe before you move to the other speaker, I did not want to interrupt her too, but Chair, I want let us draw the minister, all presentation or everything that is presented in front of the Portfolio Committee today, they are all allegations, including that in Ada, that we don't have proof of, that they were transferred from where to where, from the food aiders account. So those things, Chairperson, are allegations. So I humbly request that let us withdraw those words that the minister, we cannot prejudge them while that's the. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Thong. As this is part of the questions and comments to the minister, I would like the minister to respond to that, please, because I don't. What can I say? It's not a speech that is not going to. Nobody will respond to. It's a question. It's a deliberation. The deliberations will prove you right or wrong, because the minister is going to respond and she's going to set aside whatever it is that is being said to her that is not right. So I would like, because you heard her saying that she's protected in this meeting, and she is. Honorable Makato.
Thank you.
Honorable Makato. Honorable Ramaila.
Thank you very much and good morning. I was just wondering, because in the minister response, he also mentioned the PSC, and we haven't as yet received the report from the PSC. And wanting to reference to that, it's going to be difficult for one to do that before receiving that report from the PSC. And because once the minister is finished and the PSC comes report, would want to go back to some of the issues that the minister would have raised that are also reflected in the PSC. I don't know, wouldn't it be better for all of us to could have received the presentation from the PSC so that as we question the minister, we are also referencing that report? Thank you, Chair.
So what you are saying is that should we not rather have the presentation of the PSC before we deliberate? Is that what you're saying, Honorable Ramaila?
That's my proposal, Chair. Thank
or
you.
Honorable members, honorable members, I recognize your hand, Honorable, what is your name? Sharif. I recognize your hand, but even as you were questioning, you kept saying, maybe I should park this for the, and I have to admit that it speaks to the flow of the meeting. If we now have received the main presentation for the day, and then what is being referenced is the PSC. So if we get the PSC, I'm not saying you're going to ask 604 questions again, Honorable Sharif. If we get the PSC to ask her, to make their presentation referencing the minister's presentation, we will then ask, a full-blown from a full-blown position that says, now we have all the presentations before us, let's deliberate. Do you have a particular problem with that, honourable members, with that proposal? Yes, Honourable Reverend?
Agree.
Okay. For a minute, I thought you were going to be contouring me. Yeah.
Chairperson, just for clarity, are you saying that we pause now and we go to the PSC?
Yes.
So, Chairperson, I don't have a problem with it. However, the PSC report is very specific on what the investigation is, whereas the minister gave a brief overview on many other issues that is not necessarily part of the PSC report, number one. And number two, Chairperson, when the whip of the ANC raised this, you had made a ruling, and your ruling was that we're going to deal with this first, and once we are finished with this, we are going to the PSC report. So I would ask you, if we stick to your original ruling, let's finish with this, because we're dealing with multiple issues here, so that we can focus. By the time we get to the PSC, we focus on this one. That is my submission, Chair.
Okay, I want to take accountability, because I'm talking to Honorable Sharif, that I thought in my head, I thought that things will be clear-cut, and this is the minister's presentation, and then deliberation. But the first member to ask questions was already saying, oh, maybe I should ask this when the PSC has presented, which means that the fact that the PSC has not presented is even disadvantaging you in the flow of your own question, Honorable Sharif. So I'm asking very, very humbly that we take this proposal, because it gives some flow to the meeting that we are having. I know that you are very right that the presentation of the PSC is limited to part of the things that the minister presented on. But when you ask your questions, now you have nothing to wait for. You are just going full steam, and then you get the answers. In this case, I actually would ask the minister to be making notes as the PSC is presenting, so that when the questions come and they refer to her presentation and the presentation of the Honourable Chairperson, we have a full picture. That is what I'm seeing here, Honourable Sharif. Agreed? Okay.
You are right, Chairperson.
Okay. The Honourable Chairperson of the PSC, I think you have to change seats and come this side so that you are the members, because I can't see you even. And my ear and eye coordination is not good. When a person speaks, I want to see them as well. Sorry to uproot you in the cold morning. Yeah, I didn't ask the minister. Is that okay with you? Sorry.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Indeed, it's okay because Honourable Shireen spoke. She raised plus minus
Issues
4 questions
that refer to
that
PSC.
refers to PSC.
Okay.
I think it's wise that.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Honourable members of the committee, Minister and Deputy Minister. I come here as the PSC leading a delegation. My name is Soma Dodafikeni, the Chairperson of the Public Service Commission, and I come along with Commissioner Ngwenya, who is a cluster commissioner in the national office focusing on the Department of Social Development, as well as Commissioner Ashley Sill, who is a resident commissioner in the Western Cape, but he is heading our legal oversight within the PSC.
Can we see them, Honourable Chair?
Commissioner Ngwenya, if you can show, thank you very much. Commissioner Sill, thank you very much. And we do have in the investigation team, Faith Mashiginya, if she can also show up. And we do have Fanny Harzenberg, can indicate. We do have Modiechi Maroleng, thank you. We do have Henrika Mochake, and we have our parliamentary liaison, Nozipiwo Gauza, thank you. I just want to give a preamble before our chief investigator on the matter speaks to it. Having recognized everyone, including the media, the first one is to say that in our republic, when you look at the departments where most budget goes, is the departments where social security and social development programs are. That would be your education, health, and social development. The impact when those departments are malfunctioning is quite massive, as it was already stated by the honorable member, precisely because they provide for the most vulnerable. And also they're at the very core of the safety and the provision of dignity to our citizens. The word human dignity is mentioned from the preamble of our Constitution. It's mentioned in the Human Rights chapter, and it's mentioned several times. And we very often, as the Public Service Commission, the organization that is given the responsibility of overseeing the effective and efficient working of the public service, look into the section 195 of the Constitution in chapter 10, where it talks about constitutional values and principles of what public administration ought to do. In this case, I'm afraid to say the investigation revealed multiple violations of that. But before I say that, I should be saying that this is the matter that has been in the public media. We understood the urgency and the fierce urgency of this issue being brought into finality. Once PSC realized that the matter was in the media, we invoked what our Constitution provides for, that we can conduct our own accord investigation, where even if no one asks us to do it, if we see the importance, we do that investigation. And that's exactly what we embarked upon. By the time we received a letter from the DG of the department, we had already taken a decision that this matter is worth investigating. So we were already underway. And I think we had already indicated to the department that is what we were going to do. So investigation has taken place, quite thorough. But the first thing I would say, we did not receive the full cooperation that was needed from the officials affected. We had to repeat some of the interviews. So I wish the minister good luck in hoping that the same officials will give any full response and cooperation, more so that most of them now have left the department. But for procedural fairness, we said when the minister made such a request, we will give up to next week for her to satisfy herself. However, we had thoroughly interviewed the affected parties. They were given a chance to respond. And we had also invoked external technical support in verification of some of the details, which I doubt within the department they would have that capacity. More so because by minister's own presentation, some officials have the potential of misleading her. So it can then be the same ecosystem that will assist her in the process. But once the 14th come, because practically the investigation is complete, just procedural fairness, give the minister, as we normally do, the chance to check. But once people are out of the department, the chances of holding them accountable sometimes tend to be very much limited. So as the presentation is going to be made, I also want to appreciate the committee understanding that constitutional bodies are an extended arm of Parliament, not allowing for duplication at times, because that tend to waste resources at times, takes time, and so forth. The first thing that became very clear is that there were many role players here, and they seem to have coordinated in the embellishment of facts, including CVs, and also the misstatement of facts throughout, as the presentation will show. And I want to conclude by saying in this preamble, once the HR of a department is implicated, it often is an indication of a bigger problem, which is systemic. Therefore, even after the findings of this particular investigation, a closer look into the whole HR system of the department becomes very much important. Now, I do want to say that as the Public Service Commission, we are also in discussions with the Department of Public Service and Administration and other affected departments to say this idea of people resigning when findings are imminent should not become an escape clause for accountability, because the government is losing a lot. And also an integrated digital register of such cases, even when people resign before the findings come out, should be in place so that the next employer will have a full view of what is happening. So I will ask for the presentation on this investigation, which was quite comprehensive. And I also want to say that when we do not get cooperation and people tend to obfuscate information, we spend more resources, which are your taxpayers' resources. And in the end, we end up with the same findings. And that in itself, I think, is something worth noting in the accountability and oversight ecosystem. I'll now ask Hendrika to present some highlights of this provisional report.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to the Minister, to the members of the Portfolio Committee, to our Chairperson, and also the Commissioners of the Public Service Commission and all the stakeholders in the building. As the Chairperson has already alluded to, the Public Service Commission conducted an own accord investigation into the appointment of Ms. Mabileja to the post of Private and Appointment Secretary.
I'm very, very sorry, Ms. Hendrika. Are we not able to have the presentation connected? Go on. Okay. The members, the honorable members, I think, do you have these things? I'm so sorry for the other stakeholders, but we are trying to get help. I just wanted to make sure that, because I would see it here, so that is why the content advisor was asking me. Can Ms. Hendrika go on while we get assistance? Yes, just for the interest of time. I think please go on, and I promise I'm not going to say a word hereafter.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. Okay, as I was already indicating, the Public Service Commission conducted an own accord investigation into the appointment of Ms. Mabileja as Private and Appointment Secretary.
I'm sorry, I'm told the connectivity is here. We'll just swap the seats. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable DM.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the Minister at least can't get a copy.
Of?
We leave the presentation, there are only a few.
Oh, no, she can get mine. I'm sitting
Because the Minister
flanked
doesn't have
by
a
people
copy.
that have copies. No, there are copies here. There's 3 copies in a space of less than, I don't know. My apology, Minister, I didn't know. And you, DM, your copy?
I can peep on that one.
Yeah, no, we don't allow Honorable Deputy Ministers to peep. Please give it to me. No. You can go ahead. The technology will follow you.
Thank you. Okay, as I have already alluded to, okay, please, the Public Service Commission conducted an own accord investigation into the appointment of Ms. Mabileja to the post of Private and Appointment Secretary in this of the Minister. So and also as for her acting appointment as Chief of Staff, the Minister as well. So the issues for determination was to determine the regularity of the process that was followed by the department when she was appointed to act in the post of staff, and also when she was appointed as Private and Appointment Secretary. So I'm going to start with the findings for the post of appointment for Private and Appointment Secretary. So the Public Service Commission, based on evidence that was presented, the Public Service Commission found that Ms. Mabileja was irregularly appointed to the post of Private and Appointment Secretary, and that she failed to meet the requirements of the post in terms of qualification and experience, because when you look at the job description for the post, it required an appropriate degree or equivalent qualification, which is NQF7. And Ms. Mabileja had a diploma in information technology, which was at NQF6. And also when you look at the work experience based on the job description, the post required 5 years experience at middle management services or senior management level, and Ms. Mavilita had no experience at middle management or senior management. Then also the Public Service Commission found that she had committed fraud in that when she registered for the Nugela certificate, she incorrectly indicated that she was in possession of an NQF7 qualification, which is a bachelor's degree or advanced diploma, because now she has an NQF6 in IT. Then she also indicated that she occupied the post of private secretary for a period of 5 years, instead of stipulating that she had 3 months experience as a sales and marketing, which was reflected on her CV when it was submitted to the department. And also she indicated that she was currently employed at the Department of Women in the ministry, instead of indicating that she was working at Rosebeck College. This information was reflected. And then again, we found that she committed further fraud, because when she completed her competency assessment, there is an information, they call it a client information, that she indicated there that her highest qualification was a postgraduate or multiple degree, and she has a national diploma in. And she also indicated there that she was currently employed by the Department of Social Development as a private secretary for a period of time, and she was not employed by that. And also she committed further fraud because she indicated that she was employed by the Department of Women in the ministry, instead of indicating that she was employed by Rosebank. And she also committed fraud again by indicating on her CV that she was a sales and marketing assistant at Rosebank College for a period of 4 months, instead of stating that she was a brand ambassador for a period. And also she misrepresented again on the CV by indicating that she volunteered at Rosebank College as a library information center assistant, because when we liaised with the college, they indicated that they had no record of this appointment. The only record that they have is that she was a brand ambassador for. Then also when we requested info department, we provided us with her, but we were provided with 3 CV. The first CV is the CV that she herself submitted, but when she submitted to Khata, who is her uncle, and also Mr. Khata, after receiving she submitted it to the former chief of staff. So I'm going to start with the CV that she submitted herself. So the CV that she submitted to Mr. Khata, it reflected that her work experience was sales and marketing assistant for 4 months and also that she volunteered as a library information center assistant. But however, when Mr. Khata emailed this to Ms. Simmons, it reflected that Ms. Mabileza had 3 years experience as a volunteer in the Deputy Minister's office, the Deputy Minister. It indicated that she was providing assistance to the private secretary. And when Ms. Simmons, she submitted, but when it was submitted by Ms. Simmons, it indicated the same information that was initially by Ms. to say that she had 3 years experience as in the office of DM. And now the CV reflected Ms. Simmons. So when the Public Service Commission identified this, interviewed all Ms. Mabileza indicated that she never worked, even Ms. Simmons. But when you look at the CV, that was HR, it's Simmons. So these are some of the public. But in a nutshell, Ms. Mabileza did not meet the post. Then I'm going to move to the findings pertaining to her acting appointment as chief of staff. The Public Service Commission found that since Ms. Mabileza was irregularly appointed to the post of private appointment secretary, she did not meet to be appointed. Because when you look at the requirements for the post of staff, it requires somebody with extensive at senior management level and the understanding of functional areas of the portfolio. And also given the fact that Ms. Mabileza was in post of private and secretary, this cannot be. Sorry, can you hear me now? Okay, oh, sorry about that. Oh, I'm saying I'm going to speak now to the post of acting, when she was acting as chief of staff. But were you able to hear me with other? Only this one, okay. Okay, I'm going to speak to when she was acting as chief of staff in the office system. The Public Service Commission.
I promised I wouldn't say anything, but the IT is here. Honourable members and stakeholders, my sincere apology. We have to have this connected for the benefit of everyone in the room. It won't be long. While we're waiting for IT, is it possible for us to get this report electronically, by any chance, to the secretary of the department's presentation as well, please? Thanks. Can the presentation be emailed to Lindiwe? Oh, you just okay. Are you able to email the Had Honorable Ramaila just left us alone, we wouldn't be in this trouble. I have a whole honorable member to blame now. Honorable members, it looks like the presentation is now in a laptop that is compatible to the parliamentary system, and we will be going ahead. Ms. Enrica.
Okay. Am I audible now? I'm going to now speak to the findings pertaining to her acting appointment as Chief of Staff in the Office of the Minister. So the Public Service Commission found that with regard to her acting appointment, since she was irregularly appointed to act in the post of Private and Appointment Secretary, she does not qualify to act as Chief of Staff because the post of Chief of Staff requires an official with extensive work experience at senior management level. So when you look at her experience and you compare it to the post of Chief of Staff, you can see that her experience was actually limited compared to the one of chief of staff. And also, there was no information on her CV as well that indicated that she had extensive experience to act in such a high post. Now I'm going to move to the directions that are issued by the Public Commission. The Public Service Commission is directing that the minister facilitate that disciplinary action against officials who are implicated in the report. And those officials include HR officials who supported their appointment, and also the former DG, Mr. Nechipale, who approved their appointment. Ordinarily, the PSC would recommend that disciplinary action be taken against Ms. Mabileja and Simmons and Ms. Okay. But because Ms. Mabileja and Ms. Simmons are no longer in the department, that would not be possible. And also against Mr. Bruke, because he was the one who approved their acting appointment. Because when Ms. Mabileja was appointed to act in the post, the department was of the view that she qualified to be appointed to the post of private secretary, because Mr. Bruke was not the one who approved their appointment, her appointment as private and appointment. So they were of the view that she qualified for the post. She had the relevant 5 years experience in the post, which is based on the observations that were made by the Public Service Commission that Mr. Khatla was involved in incorrectly modifying her CV. The Public Service Commission advises that the minister takes disciplinary action against Mr. Khatla for incorrectly reflecting on Ms. Mabileja's CV that she had 3 years experience by volunteering in the office of the DM and also assisting the private sector. Thank you.
Okay, honorable members, that is the presentation. Thank you so much, Ms. Is it Andrika or
Hendrika Sithole.
Hendrika Sithole. Thank you, Ms. Sithole, for that. And so I think we can now continue with the interactions. And as you ask your questions, obviously the PSC will now also be taking notes, because they would have to respond to the questions that are being asked by the members. Because now we have both the presentation of the day. The last questions, the honourable members' questions that we will be taking now is Honourable Mahmoud.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I just want to take this opportunity to greet our Minister, Deputy Minister, Services Commissioner, and also all the honourable members. I just want to take this opportunity also to acknowledge the reports. Let me start with the last one. The last one, because they presented many things. And then we are able to hear most of the difficult experiences, the qualifications, most of the things. And if I'm listening to the presentation, so the report is not complete. So if the report is not complete, I can say Public Service Commission must be given time to conclude its work, because they are still busy. So even at the last sentence, there is something there which shows that they are still busy, and they still need some time to go on with the reports. The current status, the last sentence says, in accordance with Rules 12(1) E and F of the PSA, Rules of Conducting Investigation, the Minister will be required to provide the PSL with feedback on the progress with the implementation of the directions within 60 days of receipt and the final report. So according to me, Chairperson, I want to say, let's wait for the final report. So you can see, all of us, we can see from this report that things are not well. But maybe in the final report, then they will come with something. So those are the comments from this report. Let me go to the second report, the one of the CAS. So most of the issues are still at the primary level. Those CAS, they are saying they are the ANC Women's League CAS. So I want us to understand. So the matter is with the Ethics Committee. So I don't know, or Rena really Portfolio Committee, why Renyokoba involved in the ANC Women's League CAS. I think we must make sure that ethics go on with the issue until the last research. There is a committee of the ethics where we can hear that that report has gone to ethics. Let's give this ethics chance to deal with the matter. Then the issue of Kanyiza and Kutlani. At the same time, they are in appropriation committee. So I can say also, let's give them chance, so that they must be in that committee until it concludes its work, or until it bring the final conclusion. Lumga Oliphant and Chief of Staff Zanel Simons have both been dismissed. Both matters are currently under arbitration. And then I say, let's wait until the matter is finalized. So we must avoid interacting in the situation or in the report. Sometimes we must just learn to listen the report, and then going forward, the report will come with its finalizes. Then my last thing here, Chairperson, DG investigation have got wrong signatures in stabilizing the leadership. Has got wrong signatures. Is that one of the electronic signatures in stabilizing the leadership? And the report has been online. And then I think they are still on the way. So again, I must say, let's wait for the final conclusion of that investigation. So I think in all the reports, I can say let's try by all means to wait for the final or the last resolutions so that we can know where we are going. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Mahato, for that advice and advice. Honourable Sokanyile.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Let us thank the report that has been given to us. Maybe my reports, they will sift themselves, which one goes to who. But starting with the report that the minister gave us, I think in that's page 6, the minister is saying that on the follow-up, the disciplinary process, they will depend upon receipt of the PSA report. Then it get my hands and tied, that being tightened by that statement, because I'll be wanting the consequence management within the department having those irregular. Then even the report itself of the PSC in saying that it's not a final report, they will bring the final report. Then it means that also here, we must wait for the final report. Maybe I concur with the last speaker to say that let us wait for the final report. But I've got an issue with the honesty of the DG, who's oversighting the whole department. He allows to have a 5-year contract, knowing quite well that he was 64 and he knew that he only had 1 year. But it means that he was not honest. We're lucky that is gone in the department. I want to say that because there were a lot of discrepancies he would have done within the department if he can't be honest to the minister to say that, remember, minister, you've made a mistake in my contract to do it 5 years. Because I'm saying that a person who is in the department must be honest in his appointment. If he's going to do a correct thing to the subordinates, then maybe we're lucky that is no longer in the department. But this thing of the electronic signature, it needs to be followed up, Minister, and action be taken. Then it goes without saying, maybe within the department, if they can use your signature to put 5 years, we must check the others. Maybe there is a group or a cabal of people that have extended their work or done discrepancies in their appointment, if we can get that. But the report is not finished of the PSC because it was going to assist you, but upon receiving it, action must be done because it means that there is something wrong within the department. And it's unfortunately that themselves, the officials within the department, they're able to report. But it's a wake-up call on yourself to look at other people within the department if there are no remnants of the rotten ones. When I'm saying the rotten ones, it's saying that if nothing wrong like this one, looking at the Miss Malincha saying that has got NQF level 7 instead of NQF level 6, maybe there are others that have put themselves on a higher standard. I know an experience also plays a role within that. And then to me, if the report is not finished, I think we are also have little to say. Let us wait maybe for the final report that will be concluded by the PSC and have issues that we say. And then also on the issue of, the food aid. On the issue of the food aid, because to me, I'm saying that the food aid also had to resign because the people who have done something wrong, you can see that others, they resigned themselves Others, they simply went, but maybe it's only the one that the minister had to dismiss, knowing quite well that maybe he's saying that, or she's saying that she didn't put herself to that position. But I'm saying that even those that are in the arbitration, let us wait for those reports so that we don't create parallel. It's good that we have investigated in the department, but that investigation, it will also assist us in the consequence management within the department. Then now, the one that the former house aide that has also left, leaving behind the agreements that they entered to with the daughter of the minister without involving the minister. To me, let us wait if also she will come to the department to say that she has been wrongly done, because it's there in the media. We got it in the media and we can't let it lying down. But if they did between themselves, the daughter and together with the house aide privately, without involving another person, if there was something written by the former house aide to us or to you, chairperson, or to anyone in the department complaining, is then I think we were going to have an issue. Because, you know, most of the things when people they see, maybe it will be now the acting DG being said, this has been done in the media, then we quickly take that. But we don't have to let it lie. We need to look at it, then upon getting a report, because if the minister knew about this combination of the former house aide and the daughter, I think they should have brought us into confidence to say that, no, I knew about. But if in the report written here, she says she doesn't know anything, there's no reason that we mustn't agree to that. Because most of these things, correctly so, are allegations. I think I'm agreeing with what Honorable Tong was saying, to say that we cannot judge the minister now without the finality of the report, to say that she is incapable or she cannot rule that department. We know nowadays social media can make a person to be incapacitated to lead the department. I think that's my contribution, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Kanyile, for your contribution. I will now go to the Honourable Bishop Sweni.
Angibingelele sihlalo namalungu alendlu ehloniphekileyo, ngibonge ithuba esilitholayo. Sihlalo ngidlulisa ukubonga ngembiko esiyethulelweyo namhlanje. Into engikhathazayo sihlalo ukuthi into yenza sifisa ukuthi lo mnyango ube ngcwele noma lendlu ibe ngcwele ingasoleki nongqongqoshe wayo angabi nabala, ingenxa ukuthi ibhekelele abantu abampofu, ibhekelele intandane nabantu abasweleyo. Nesifiso sokuthi kulolu phenyo lonke olwenziwayo ungqongqoshe wayo lendlu aphume engenasici ngenxa yabahluphekileyo bezwe lakithi. Odabeni engifuna ukukhuluma ngalo sihlalo, sasicelile ukufundile uma uqala wendlalela laphayana wendlalela uminister ukuthi sacela ukuthola umbiko opheleleyo wohambo olwadla igidi 3 zamarandi. Sacela ukuthi lo mbiko uze unezisekelo zonke ukuze siyokwazi ukuphendula kahle kubantu basemzansi ukuthi leyo mali yasebenziseka kanjani. Uma uminister ekhuluma ngizwile ukuthi lo mbiko ukhona, bengicabanga ukuthi ngizowubona la emaphepheni. Ngiyacela sihlalo ngenhlonipho enkulu ukuthi siwufumane loyo mbiko okhuluma ngalezo zigidi ukuthi zasebenziseka kanjani, njengoba sasenze leso sicelo leso. Ilokho kuphela sihlalo engicela ukwedlulisa, ngithokoze kakhulu kuwena indlu.
Siyabonga mhlonipheki omkhulu. I just think for the benefit of those who may not have understood what the honourable member was saying, I will summarize by saying that she thanked the department, or she thanked the department or the minister and the PSC for the reports that were presented this morning, and said that it is concerning that all this is happening to the department that is trusted to look after the poor and vulnerable in society. And also her wishes are that the finalization of the reports before us will exonerate the minister so that she can go ahead and do the work for which she has been put in that department. And so also the concern also that the honourable member has is that of not having heard any mention of the 3 million detailed itemized report of who did what with the 3 million rand in New York, because the department, the committee had asked, as per my opening remarks to say that that is also one of the things that are outstanding. And she says that because we need to know who did what with the 3 million rand that was also reported in the media. Thank you so much. We are now going to go to the Honorable James.
Thank you so much, Chair. There's a lot happening in this department. One doesn't even know where to start here, but I'm going to focus on two things this morning. That is the questions that I posed to the Minister about the vehicles and as well as the cars. But let me start with about the vehicles and the aid, right? Minister, you have literally thrown your daughter under the bus here this morning. Your daughter seems to be handling the department matters of the department. Number one, you have said to this committee that basically between the aid and the agreement was between the aid and your daughter. You don't know what's happening there. This tells this committee that your daughter then has access to DSD letterheads because there's a contract here that actually states that half her salary must be given for household aid and assistance. So your daughter, number one, has access to DSD letterheads. Your daughter takes half the aid salary to buy groceries. This is your daughter, right? Your daughter is driving the ANC Women's League's vehicles because it is registered in your daughter's name, right? Your daughter also goes and sells the vehicles of the ANC Women's League. So your daughter is busy with a lot of things. I'm not sure when you declared and when you responded to my question when you said that because it shows, the record shows, I'm just not trying to ask the team to go and print it, that both those vehicles were registered in your children's names. So this means your son is also part of the ANC Women's League as things stand.
Honorable James, my only request is that you go to from where the minister goes to, where the minister responds to your questions. Because now that we know that this was a party political issue, I would hate for us to be exercising oversight over the issues of the ANC.
But Chair, the minister then responds in here. If the minister wasn't going to take questions on this, in this report, the minister then responds and says she did not mislead this committee. So she's telling us that she did not mislead this committee. She should have then said on that page that she's not going to answer any questions to it. So she cannot come here and say she didn't mislead us and then expect us not to probe her on her telling us that she didn't mislead us. We can then probe into it if she's responding to it.
All I'm saying is that the minister said that she did not mislead Parliament.
So I'm telling the minister and I'm showing the minister that she did mislead Parliament.
Okay.
And we cannot continue with these delay tactics, Chairperson, because this has been continuing for way too long.
I don't want you to delay with the delay. I also don't like delaying tactics as a person. All I am saying is that this portfolio committee on social development cannot be traversing on issues of the national Africa. What is your name? Yes, that one. ANC. Let's put it that way. I am saying cannot preside over over a committee that is now deliberating on issues of political parties. I'm not even competent to do that. I am saying to you, Honorable James, go directly to where the name of any political parties, yours included, is not going to be mentioned in the work that this portfolio committee is doing. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead. Just hold on, honourable members. I recognize your hands. I just want to ask for procedural advice here.
Thank you very much, Chair. The issue of the donations of vehicle to the ANC Women's League was not part of a request from the committee. Maybe the minister wanted to be transparent because the matter was before the National Assembly, and when the chairperson sought advice around this matter, the legal advisor suggested that the matter is before the joint committee and it's a matter of a political party. I think Minister, maybe she was generous with information to provide this. I tried to warn the chairperson that this item was not part of a committee request because it's handled in the ANC matter, and then the Joint Ethics Committee is busy with it and the President. So it should have not been part of this presentation from the onset. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Lindiwe. Thank you, Lindiwe. Honourable James, go ahead. No. Honourable James, he's on the floor. Oh.
Chair, what is before the committee is the position or the component of her declaring or not declaring.
Yes.
That's the only thing that is, you understand? So now, but the minister is an asset of the state. And these cars, they went to her children now. Now, that position on that side, we are not talking about ANC or whatever. If you say that the cars that were donated to the ANC, I donated them to my children, that's fine. We just need to know that, that's all. But if the cars, because we don't know if the cars got there by her mouth, she's an asset of the state. She must answer that side of the cars and her children getting the cars, not the ANC, because she's an asset of the
Order, Chair.
Okay, Honourable James, you'll have to wait now. I'm sorry about that. Honourable Sokanyile.
Thank you very much. Indeed, Chairperson, I want to agree with you to say that the issue of the cars was not part of the discussion. But now that it appears on what the minister, being honest with, transparent, if, as the committee, we want to ask about the donation to the ANC Women's League, we need to ask the ANC Women's League, and not the minister here. There's no report that otherwise next time we'll say, please report about the table that was donated in the ANC Women's League. Why are you reporting about the cars only as the committee? Because it is still the same Minister of Social Development where the table has been donated to I'm making an example, to the ANC Women's League. Let us not allow it and discuss it. Thank you.
Honorable Sharif.
Thank you, Chairperson. I heard what you said in the beginning of the meeting, and that's why I didn't interrogate the cause. However, I must agree with Honorable James and the good Reverend. If you put something on the presentation, you are opening up yourself. And therefore, by you consciously putting it here in your presentation, you have opened yourself up to questions from all honorable members. And Chairperson, that is my view. If the minister agrees that this is a political thing and it's with ethics and wada fish space, then why put it on the presentation? The moment you put it on the presentation, we as committee members, we are allowed to comment on anything, even the page numbers and the references on this presentation, and therefore I agree with Honorable James that she should be allowed to continue. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Sharif, when things like that happen, that is why I'm here, to coordinate and to facilitate the meeting to stay on course. I repeat, I will not be presiding on a meeting that is talking about a political party in this country. It's not going to happen. You might have to find another chairperson and act while you are talking about political parties, because no political party does not... okay, let me just stop there. Yes, Honorable. I'm sorry.
Yes, I with them that the minister did open the matter and also closed it. They did not read the page till the end. She said, I did not like to Parliament, and further said, but now the matter is already at that ethics committee. So, Chair, we've got confidence in our ethics committee. Let us give the committee a chance to. So we must agree with the committee that this matter must not raise until the ethics committee have dealt with.
Thank you, Honorable Tong. I want to just stick to the point where we really try and respect a separation of the work that we're doing. If we are going to start discussing political parties in this portfolio committee, it's going to be very tough. So, Honorable James, please go ahead.
It's already tough, Chair. Chair, I want to say that this is a state issue, right? This is not only an ANC issue. We have a minister before us here, not just an ANC member of the ANC. This minister did not declare, and the records prove that these vehicles belong to her children, and the minister has said that she was gifted by these vehicles. It was a donation. She was meant to declare this. That is a fact that we cannot avoid here. This was a parliamentary question. The minister then further goes and she responds to it through her presentation. And now she comes and says, we cannot probe further. The minister actually puts it in red. I would like to put it on record that I have not misled Parliament at any point.
Honorable James, the minister did say the matter is before the Ethics Committee. Can we not leave it at that at all? Because that's where I'm coming from. That is where I'm coming from.
This is a minister and she should have declared these vehicles.
Just 1 minute, Honorable James. Honorable Minister.
Honorable Chairperson, thank you very much. With due respect, Honorable Chairperson, I brought the matter because the same Honorable James is the one who brought it to the ethics. And I was transparent to say, I know, I've responded, I've deposited my own affidavit for the purpose of this committee to know, because there's nothing to hide about that. The ethics is dealing with the matter. When it has concluded, I guess it will be public. So that is my only take insofar as this matter is concerned. Can you just, because the same members who are asking questions in one tweet are the same members who brought the matter to the ethics. I want to appeal to and agree with you. Can't we allow that process to conclude so that we can come back, I don't know when and how, in further interrogation? Because if the member could not wait for this process and thought the matter must be elevated to the ethics, so we must accept that and wait. That's my own take, Chair. I'm not saying I'm shying away. What I'm saying, and I'm still saying it, I've not misled Parliament. I did not mislead. The ethics is going to ventilate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable James, any other questions?
Chair, the matter of Zanele and Lunka are also under investigation, also sub judice. But here we are discussing it. So please can we get clarity on what we're going to discuss here and what we're not going to discuss? Because it seems as if though I'm not able to then ask any of my questions here. Because everything is now under investigation. The easiest way to hide and avoid accountability, it's confidential and it's under investigation.
Honourable James, the matters of Ms. Simons and Ms. Oliphant is under arbitration. The minister said that. It's on the report. If you want to ask a question about a matter that is on arbitration, how do you say? Arbitration, please go ahead.
No, I'm going to need 5 minutes to reconstruct my questions because everything that I wanted to ask now, I'm not allowed to ask. So I'm going to come back and ask my questions. No, I'm going to come back to my questions. I'm going to just give me 2 minutes, please, Chair.
Can we then have Honourable Toe?
Thank you, Chairperson. I nearly said, let me also prepare myself properly and then come later after Honourable James again. But Chairperson, I respect that there are matters that are still under investigation, but I have 1 or 2 questions for the PSC. Remember, Chair, and I do understand that the report is not yet complete, but the PSC, in their investigations, Chair, who have they found has responsibility of appointing staff of the minister? Who has the responsibility? Chair, are you following me? And further, Chair, what was the role of Ms. Simons, the former chief of staff, as she was mentioned as the preference person, as a reference person? We also hear on media, Chairperson, that the minister appointed officials in her. Maybe that question is emphasizing my first question to say, in the PSC investigation, in terms of the law, what are the roles of the minister and the role of the DG? Is it the minister of the DG who must approve officials? So my third question is emphasizing the first question. So I'll also want to direct one question to Honourable Minister. It's in regard of the food aid. Chairperson, is the minister aware of any case that has been opened by the? Because Chairperson, we have discussed it in our portfolio committee before that there is this thing of taking things from social media and bringing them to the portfolio committee. Some things that do not have. I mean, that thing of the food aider is an allegation, and then people will say on media, social media, that the food aider is a woman. She needs to be protected. The minister as well is a woman. She also somehow needs to be protected. Not to say that we want the minister to run away from accountability, but I think this thing is just rumors, Chair, of the food aider, because if it was a serious case, it could have long been reported to relevant authorities. So my question to the minister, if she's aware of any case that has been opened, because also this thing of the food aid, Chair, it has a little bit of politics, a lot of politics in it actually. We had some voice notes actually in community WhatsApps and political WhatsApp. There are circulating voice notes of Ms. Lumka having a conversation with the food aider, actually persuading the food aider to take their matter serious and report it to relevant. So in this regard, Chair, it seems like the food aider is being forced to fight against them. So I want to check if the minister is aware of those circulating voice notes as well, so that if she's not aware of them, that this portfolio committee can be, maybe that I can submit those voice recordings to this portfolio. So that, Chairperson, we must as well be able to close this matter of the food aider. We cannot continuously, Chairperson, be discussing rumors, Chair. I mean, if this matter was in front of law, we could have said, yes, this matter is suitable can be discussed in this portfolio committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chong. And now we would like to hear from the Honourable Peters.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm not going to repeat what most of the MPs had said, but I think, if you look at the presentation of the minister, it stems to broader systemic weaknesses in governance and oversight in the department, right? If you look at the appointment of the DG, the question then for me is who is held accountable? And for this error, as the minister said it, for this error, who's held accountable for this error, and at what cost to the country and the taxpayers of South Africa? Then when it comes to the investigation of the PSC on Ms. Mabitlecha, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it correct. I don't have a lot to say. All I'll say is she should be criminally charged because she committed fraud. As simple as that. Because other people get to go to jail for minor things. But this is actually, it's quite sad that young women would stoop so low to just get a job, which also points to bigger systemic problems of the fact that there's no jobs for our young people in South Africa. And then when it also, this is basically with the falsification of the credentials. And then also for both cases, has the department actually quantified what it cost us as the taxpayers? And then I'd like to finish, Minister, and just say, within your presentation, mostly you are saying you are not responsible, it's other people. You understand, even if you look at now the food aid, but unfortunately the buck stops by you as the Minister of Social Development. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Peters, for that. We will now go over to the Honourable Rev. I'll get back to you, Honourable. You let me know when you sort it. Honourable Rev.
Thank you, Chairperson. Again, I'd like to greet everyone, Minister, Deputy Minister, and all the officials, honourable members. We are sitting in the most important department in the country, and in all countries, social development is one of the important departments which really serves the underprivileged, those who are sink in poverty. And this department, in the beginning, one alluded that it is important that everything in this department comes above board, because we pray, Nati, in our corners, for this department each and every day. The issue of the DG chairperson and the minister, the DG is appointed for 1 year, and he is appointed for 1 year after he has appointed all the staffs in the minister's portfolio or in the ministry, and the minister seconded that he must be appointed for 1 year or for 5 years. But again, what I'm saying is that he allowed the DG to be appointed for 1 year, while the DG has done all these wrong things in terms of appointing all these people that are in her ministry, the PA or the private secretary, and all the faults and the CV that she has fraudulently written it. The DG should have seen that. And also, the DG now is in the center of everyone that needs to be chasing out, according to the report of the report that we just said of the PSC. Now, maybe I'll ask also one question about the chief of staff. The chief of staff, Minister, you seconded the chief of staff to NDA. I would like to ask that is that allowed to take somebody who's a chief of staff contracted to the minister and second that person to an official position or a permanent position to work at NDA according to your human resource and all of that. Lana Minister sikhuluma nge-department officer with stabilizer, but akwenzeki lokho, because these things that are happening, they are happening in the ministry itself. The staff that is in, understand mina ngihleli nje la ukuthi my private secretary as a minister, I don't know of her qualification. I'm just sitting with somebody who is less qualified, and she's sitting here with me each and every day as a private secretary. I think mhlawumbe there is some dishonesty. There's a lot of truth that needs to be taken there, because I cannot sit as an MP. I cannot hire an administrator to assist me, and I don't know anything about that administrator. I don't know her CV. I don't know where she comes from and what she has done to be able to sit here, because I need somebody qualified to assist me next to me. I think that one ufuna ukuthi bhekisiswe kahle, if ever ukuthi uminister did not have a hand in also approving the private secretary to come. Whereas when she was made a chief of staff, I'm not going to touch the cars because to me the cars, there are two sides. There's an ANC, there's daughters. I'm not talking about ANC, there are daughters, there are children that are there. Yeah, and this alone speaks to over 28 million people that are on grant system. This is what is happening. This is what is happening in our department, and people then should decide, because lezi askwazi ukuzifihla. They're going to keep on coming up. Askwazi ukuyifihla as a portfolio committee. We cannot hide them as a portfolio committee. These things are out there in the public, and over 28 million people who are in the grant system must see this is what is happening in the department, so that they can take their decision when it comes November 4, what to do. Because it's wrong. It's wrong. You can defend it. Yeah, you can defend it as much as you want. But this thing, what is happening here, what has been presented to us, it is wrong. And we'd like to thank you, PSC, for the detailed investigation that you conducted. It's really, really helpful what you have given us. With this alone, I don't understand how we can get hold of the DG, because he has done a lot of the wrong things in this department. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Rev. I mean, if I'm a reverend, I should. Okay. Honorable, can I just go back to Honorable James before I come to you, Honorable Ramaila, and the Honorable Sharif also wanted to ask questions now, including the PSC report. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I won't be long. Minister, you say that you had no knowledge of this with regards to the food aid, right? You say that you had no knowledge of this, but the pay slip of the food aid, her bank statements, her appointment letter has your ministerial letterhead and a very different story. So if I look at this letter, this is the contract that was given to us. Sorry, I just needed to break this now so that we can actually print this. This was the contract that was given to your aide. It does not even have a letter on it. This is the contract that you were saying you are not aware of. Let me read this to you. I'm going to read it as it is. Appointment on contract as food aid to the Minister Minister of Social Development. No date on here, right? Gives me pleasure to inform you that your contract of employment in terms of Section 9 of the Public Service Act as amended, read in conjunction with Regulation 57 of the Public Service Amendment Regulation to this department has been approved with particulars indicated below. Commencement date, date of assumption of duty. So there's no date there. Job title, food aid. Nature of appointment, fixed term contract for a period of 6 months. Remuneration breakdown, 8,000 Rand a month. 8,000 Rand a month. Minister's house allocation, 7,670 Rand per month utilized for household, right? Your contract appointment is subject to conditions and requirements as stipulated in the employment contract. So here it is, Minister, that says half her salary goes to your household. Here we have copies of a bank statement, right? So this is not what social media says. This is the facts. This is signed, right? Here we have copies of a bank statement, Minister, where it shows, right, that we have a payslip also. A payslip shows that she was being paid a net monthly salary of 15,814 Rand and 47 cents. But her banking records show that she was only keeping half her salary, right? And payments going to Makanyu. Say that name nicely for me. Makanyu, that's her name, right? Is that your daughter, Minister? Because here it shows her details, it shows a full salary going in, and it shows half her salary going into your daughter's bank account. And here we have the cooked contract that no one's aware of in front of us. So we cannot say that this matter must be closed and it cannot be discussed because it's kind of stories in social media and in the newspapers, because we have the evidence and we have the proof before us here today. So with that, are you aware that the term Minister's House Allocation does not appear to exist anywhere in DPSA documentation, the Ministerial Handbook, the Public Service Regulations, the Public Service Act, or any of the official public service framework? Are you aware of that? And I leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable James. We will now go straight to you, Honourable Ramaila, because Honourable Sharif is not here.
Thank you, Chair, and good day to the Minister, Deputy Minister, the Chair and the Commissioners from the Public Service Commission and colleagues, Honourable Members of the Portfolio Committee. The DG as the accounting officer accounts to the Minister. Any other person from the DG going down, they all account to the DG as an accounting officer. So it is expected that any consequence management that needs to be applied, it is the DG that must apply consequence management, other employees below him. But it's also the responsibility of the Minister to apply consequence management to the DG as the accounting officer. Now, in the contracts where the Cabinet said 1 year contract to the DG, but what was signed is 5-year contract, is an irregular. We also know that an irregular matter can be regularized. To the fact that the DG served for 1 year, it basically means that that irregular was regularized. What then would have remained is for the Minister then to apply consequence management on the DG, should he still be the employee of the department. I think that's how the process is expected to unfold administratively. And we'd like to appreciate the report from the PSC. It really gives us a guide, but it also indicates that there might still be a lot of work that needs to be done, such that if we feel as members of this portfolio committee, there might be matters that due to the limited scope or terms of reference of the PSC, that may not be covered. I think it is up to the members of this committee in this meeting to raise those matters so that the PSC can also be able to look into those matters procedurally. I think that's the correct way to go. And Chair, we all know that is a provisional report, which is a preliminary report, which would often lack the finalized response from the affected parties, and in this case, the Minister or some of the departmental officials that have been mentioned in the report. I appreciate that the PSC has extended the period up to the 14th of May for the Minister to also be able to respond to the report, because it's important to also apply the policy or the principle of the alteram partem, both to the ministers, to the officials of the department that might as well not have responded to the alleged misconduct or findings of PSC, including, as the Chair has said, the difficulty that they have experienced in getting information from the officials. I think that's a necessary process to be followed. And if the committee was to make a conclusive decision before the Minister or other officials of the department would have had a formal opportunity to rebut the report as the provisional report here as presented by the PSC, in as far as the initial findings are concerned. Any other recommendation made by the committee, therefore, would be procedurally irrational and could be set aside by a court of law. But also that as the portfolio committee, we must not be tempted to have the agenda of this committee set by the court of public opinion or the narrative that comes from the media. we need to be factual and practical in our workings in terms of our oversight responsibility. I think that is very necessary to all of us. And whilst the PSC, we know, can issue binding directions or directives in this regard, regarding personnel matters, particularly those that have been referred to in this instance, we know that these directions only carry legal weight once the investigation is finalized and a formal report is tabled before this committee as expected. And this committee would then be well empowered to can take informed decisions in as far as the application of consequence management is concerned. And acting on a preliminary briefing would be premature and would invite a legal challenge from whoever so might have been affected by the recommendations or the report itself. And as the portfolio committee, our role is oversight and not prosecute. That is our role, to play oversight over the minister and the department, not prosecution, and must not conflate these things. And until the PSC, SAPS, Ethics Committee, Public Protection, or any other statutory body that these allegations might have been referred to, and until they come to particular conclusions and the recommendations are presented to us here as the portfolio committee, it will indeed, as I've said before, be premature for us to want to make any conclusions based on a provisional report, as I've already said. Let's allow the statutory bodies that are still, actually these matters are still in an active investigation phase, which would mean some of them have just freshly been reported to some of these statutory bodies. Ours is to give these statutory bodies chance to investigate, come back to Parliament, and those that are supposed to report to this portfolio committee will still come back to this portfolio. It's only at that stage that will be able to take informed decisions. But my appeal to members of the Blue Committee now is for us to give chance to these statutory bodies, because it is us that have referred matters to the SAPS, open case to the SAPS. Let's give SAPS the chance to investigate the allegations. We have reported the matters to the Ethics Committee. Let's give the Ethics Committee to deal with this matter. And all those statutory bodies that these matters might have been referred to, let's give them chance. Now, for me, Chair, I think jumping to a conclusion based on a preliminary report or media narrative or court of public opinion will not only be unfair to the minister and affected officials, but would also weaken the committee's authority if these preliminary reports, media narrative, the public court of opinion are to inform us in taking decisions. That would be utterly wrong for this portfolio committee to take such measures. I therefore would want to recommend, Chair, that should members feel that there might be other matters that could have arisen from the presentation by the minister or by the PSC, that members feel will need further probing, further investigation, let those matters be referred to the relevant statutory bodies. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ramaila, for those contributions. Honorable Sharif.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chair, I'm going to start by saying that I humbly request, Prof, if we can please get the draft report. Prof, it's very difficult for me to be able to interrogate exactly what your investigation was and your findings if I don't have the report in front of me, specifically around the findings and the recommendations. So I'm pleading to you to please send it to the portfolio committee because I would really like to look at the consequence management. In your presentation, you speak about Mr. Khatla being disciplined. I want to find out, one, is Mr. Khatla in the room and who he is, because, Chair, I only read about him. I don't even know who he is. I'd like to maybe put a name to the face. And my first question is, will Mr. Khatla be disciplined? Specifically because this feels like nepotism. Because your investigation said it's the niece, the uncle, the CV, the first CV, the second CV. It honestly sounds like cater deployment. And that is a problem for me. So some more information around that. Prof, the DG, I'd really like more information around, what he said. That's why I think the report is so important, because the presentation is a high level and we need the details in order to really interrogate it. To the department, I want to find out what steps will be taken to get Ms. Mabilecha to recover the money paid to Ms. Mabilecha. Maybe the CFO or the acting DG can speak to this, because if it's correct and the PSC found that she committed fraud, then she must pay back the money, because that money is taxpayers' money. It didn't come out of your pocket, Minister. It didn't come out of Mr. Khatla's pocket. So she must pay back the money. So I would like to hold the department to account to say, what are the steps to recover this money? Because this money must go to the people who need it, like your grants, the social grants, GBV survivors, substance, children, those in substance abuse, children, teenage pregnancy, statutory rape. That is where the money should go, not to an unqualified fraudster who lied on the CVs. I want to find out from the PSC, during your investigation, Chairperson, did you find that either the Deputy Minister or the Minister was aware of what was going on? Did the PSC noting the lack of cooperation by department officials, find that this was to ensure that the minister or the deputy minister was shielded from accountability. In the presentation, Prof, the minister nor the DM is mentioned. None of them is mentioned. Like I said, it's a very high level, so maybe there's more detail in the actual report. Can you explain if you have not interviewed either the minister or the deputy minister of any wrongdoings? Noting that the minister's important role in choosing her chief of staff, and reports that the minister quietly removed Ms. Mabilecha as Chief of Staff by the Daily Maverick. Why has the minister not included in this presentation that indicates that she was aware of the irregularities, and why has the PSC not addressed this? Again, Prof, it's probably in your report, but because we don't have it, you'll have to answer these questions. Will you be interviewing the minister or the deputy minister to finalize your report? And lastly, Chair, has the PSC found that the minister has failed to take accountability and further ensure accountability, or does the PSC believe the minister had no role to play in these dodgy appointments? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Sharif, and thank you, Honourable Members, for those wide-ranging questions, because you have been waiting for today for you to be able to really deliberate on these issues. So I appreciate your questions and your comments and your advices and your proposals. I have personally a issue of time. I'm directing that to the Honourable Minister and the Honourable Chairperson of PSC. Are you still having time to be with us to answer? Honourable members, let us then relax. We are going to be getting our answers. And fortunately, the sitting today is at 3 o'clock. So if the Honourable Chairperson of PSC and the Honourable Minister still have time to deliberate with us, forget about the agenda you got and the times on there, because now we're using, extra time. Is that what they say in football? Over to you, Minister.
Before that, Chair,
Okay.
I just want to have an understanding and a directive myself as Chair, the Portfolio Committee, given that this is a preliminary report. The basis of a preliminary report is update, it's not a final report. Whether you are going to allow this meeting to interrogate an interim report is not a final report, because we are not supposed to do that. This was just an update. What we need to do, like you have raised an issue of, is to wait for the final report. It is the final report that legally and administratively we can interrogate, not an interim. But thank you.
I would like the Minister and the Honourable Chairperson of PSC to respond to the members, because we've had presentations made to us, and in the midst of those presentations, members have asked for issues that they are not clarified on. I really would think that we should, and I'm very comfortable that the honourable chairperson of the PSC is a legal mind, so he would know when not to cross, lines that are not supposed to be crossed. So please go ahead, Honourable Minister.
Should I start, Chair?
Oh, you want to start?
I think ours are of a lesser volume.
Okay.
Perhaps we could start.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
Go ahead, Chairperson.
Let me start by saying effectively our report is complete. But the matter of courtesy out of the precedent, when the minister asked to say, I want to further verify, the affected individuals were revisited. Independent verification processes where at times electronic emails and other things were done. So there's nothing new that's going to be improved upon on that. So we normally give this courtesy because when we issue a direction instead of a recommendation, it is of a higher bar to say, let's satisfy everybody in every space. But where the difficulty comes from, if you look at the web of deceit, delay, resistance you found during the process, that's why I said we would wish Minister good luck if she says she still wants to find out from the same persons. More so because most of them have now left the department. She may no longer have the hold over them. The main thing for the PSC now is to refine the disciplinary measures or consequence management and then go through that particular process. So, in my experience, where extension has been asked to say we want to satisfy ourselves, 9 out of 10 times nothing new normally comes, because the department would not have had the technical and investigative capacity that we have subjected this process to, going back and forth. The individuals affected were given the opportunity to respond to the report. But as we say generally, when we say provisional, we normally say we give the accounting authority the chance, if anything, to inform or to think about how consequence management. The last line of our report or the presentation, which is high level, we do have a detailed one, bulky, which at the right time we'll be happy to share with the Portfolio Committee, where it says, in accordance with the rules, that is now the last slide on page 6, in the printed document. I'm not sure in the electronic one whether it shows the same. In accordance with rules, the PSC rules on conducting investigations, the minister will be required to provide the PSC with a feedback on the progress with the implementation of the directions within 60 days. That's different from anything that will impact on the report, where she said she will further get information for the individuals, which is next week. That other one, it's about implementation of consequence management measures. And indeed, we do allude to the fact that even the person who might have left where fraud or misleading information might have been affected, there ought to be consequences. So broadly, that is the position. And the reason we believe it is very much important to deal with this matter quite urgently is because if you analyze the global developments, the projections, people who are under social security care are going to be under severe distress in the foreseeable future, given what is happening in the Gulf, given what is happening geopolitically across the world, and also given the frequency of disasters which often affect these individuals more. So I do think that one of the things we will be saying at the end is that stabilizing and repositioning this department becomes a lot more urgent when you see those challenges. And the worrisome part, HR is the engine room of any department for recruitment, talent management, discipline management, leave management, and many other things. If it suffers weaknesses and gets implicated, it often is a signal of a deeper malaise than we normally would reckon. But I will allow my colleagues to make input in a sense. But as I say, most of the time when we say we give you courtesy of the days to consider the report, it's not because we expect that technically you'd arrive at any different outcome. Because if you have 3 CVs, there are 3 CVs which contradict each other. If you have misstated certain roles, it is what it is. And we've gone back to the individuals to give them the chance. We've gone back. If we have to verify with SAQA, we'd go to SAQA. Verify with the institution concerned, like this case, we go to that institution. So it is inconceivable that few days would come up with something fundamentally different from the report that effectively is completed. Thank you. And I'll just ask my colleagues to make an input, fellow commissioners or the investigators. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good afternoon to the honorable members of the committee, colleagues from the department, honorable minister and the TM. I am going to hand over to our chief investigator, but I want to answer the question that was asked by one of the honorable members that the report seemed to be silent on the issue of the DM and the minister. Reason being that as a PSC, we do not have jurisdiction to investigate ministers and executive authorities. Rather, we refer such cases to the public protector. I think that makes sense. So I'm going to ask the CD Chief Director to comment on the questions that were asked, and then the lead investigator. Thank you very much. Faith.
Thank you very much, Minister, Deputy Minister, the Chair, the Chairperson of the PSC, honorable members of the Portfolio Committee.
I hear the voice in the wilderness. Where is that?
Oh, okay. On the question of who has the responsibility to appoint staff in the office of the minister, it is the DG as the accounting officer. The DG is delegated this authority by the active authority. However, we need to have sight of the Employment Management Circular 47 of 2024, stipulating that when appointing staff in the minister's office, the executive must satisfy him or herself that all provisions of Public Service Regulation 67(9) were complied with. That means that due process was followed and complied with, and that it was ensured that the candidate qualifies in all respects for the post, and that the candidate's claims in his her application were verified. So, in as much as the DG is the accounting authority, the circular is quite clear on the role of the executive. And coming to the role of Ms. Simmons was appointed by the former DG with HR to form part of a team to assist in the appointment, with specific reference here, the appointment of Ms. Villager. And that's the role that Ms. Simmons played. And there is the question, will Mr. Khatla be disciplined? Yes. We note that Mr. Khatla, as we would recall, we indicated that the CV was forwarded to Mr. Khatla by Ms. Villager. Subsequently, Mr. Khatla, in their CV, indicated incorrectly that Ms. Villager's CV had 3 years public service experience as a volunteer in the office of DM, assisting the DM private secretary, whereas in actual fact, Ms. Villager never reflected this information on her CV. So that's a contradiction. So the answer is yes. And the other question has been responded to by Commissioner, whether the minister and DM were aware of the wrong
end, I think.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and honourable members. Ashley Searle, Western Cape Commissioner for the Public Service. Maybe just to add two small things. There was a question with regards to recovery of money. There is a specific recommendation with regards to that, because we agree that if there was an irregular appointment, it flows that the money spent on such an irregular appointment needs to be recovered. And then just, Chair and members, to note that even though this is a provisional report, we have issued directions. And I think it's important to distinguish between the impact of directions and advice and recommendations. When we speak about directions, it's a specific power that the Constitution provides to the Commission to implement. And the view of the Commission is directions are binding. It's different to advice and recommendations, which one can argue is not binding. But when it comes to directions, these are matters that must be implemented. The only option for an executive authority, if he or she disputes those directions, is then to approach the court and have those directions overturned. And it's a matter that we've in fact included. Members will be aware that we have the PSC bill that's currently in the NCOP, and that's a specific provision that we've included to say that directions are binding, and the only way it can be disputed or overturned is via court process. I think that's just important. Thank you, Chair.
Just also to add that even where we had issued recommendations, the case law, 3 different cases, have indicated that you can't ignore recommendations of a constitutional body without presenting what steps you are taking and simply ignore it and say it's recommendations. We do have such, case laws. But once we say directions, it is one level up, very directly cited from the Constitution itself. Thank you.
So is there PSC done? Whose hand was up first? Ladies first.
Chair, I asked specifically a question to the PSC because, again, we don't have the report. So it's very difficult to look at the details within the report. So my question was, did the PSC, in their investigation within the report, find that either the Deputy Minister or the Minister was aware that Ms. Madilecha did not meet the requirements? I didn't get an answer to that question. Thank you.
PSC?
Thank you very much. One, we will furnish the full report to the committee because we report to Parliament. We were just waiting for this provisional aspect until the 14th, where you'll see all the compiled details. And secondly, on the issue of the involvement of Minister and Deputy Minister, that does not appear to be the case. The only problem is that since the matter was ventilated in the media, the time it took before intervention and the stopping of salary and other interventions, it's what then becomes worrisome to the PSC. To say now it is in the public domain, this is the person in your office, these are the people in your department and so forth. What are the steps being taken to mitigate the risk? Because that has become a matter of public interest. But when we also do the inductions, we also indicate that even when you have private employees in the private office of the minister or executive authority, it is very much important to take interest in the qualifications, the background of the person, because this is the person who becomes your key conduit in advising you on policy, in interfacing with the department, and so forth. If it becomes literally a blind date, you say, I've just been introduced to this person, it becomes a problem. That's why PSC, working with the relevant departments, we want to retreat and just reflect very carefully on the issue of members who operate in the private offices of the executive authorities. Some would be political appointees in that technical sense. How best do we make sure that we have a framework for this category of people so that professionals who have the knowledge in guiding the executive authorities do have what it takes? It cannot be that you take literally a student fresh from school and that person is going to exercise so much power in advising an executive authority presiding over a department that is presiding over close to 30 million of people. So that in itself, I do think that we ought to take statecraft quite seriously. And that does not just apply to the minister. We have dealt with other instances over the issues of people who operate in the private offices. And that in itself has sort of escaped the gaze of how do we professionalize that particular space if we are serious about building a capable, ethical, developmental state. Because those people wield a lot of power in advising the minister, sometimes in being a go-between with the DG, with the rest of the department, giving policy advice to what you present to Parliament, to what you do with other officials. Imagine then if you take literally an amateur who just was a volunteer in some college and shoot that person straight. I do think that it is a very painful indictment of our system generally, not just one department, because we've seen that that particular space of people who operate in the private office, still has a lot to be done in terms of professionalizing it and making it more transparent.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Ramaila.
Thank you, Chair, once more. I think in as far as directions and so on, our consent is quite clear. Basically, a consequence management mechanism that needs to be applied. Now, on a procedural matter, Chair, when the report is presented to this portfolio committee as a provisional nomination report, it means the committee must note. When the committee or the report finally is for consideration, then the committee will consider the report, so that the chair of the committee is also able to report to Parliament through a report about this matter. Will I be correct now to say, today, as we are sitting in this meeting, this report from our PS is for noting? Thank you.
Honourable Chairperson, I am hearing this in conjunction with you saying the report is complete. So please just give me, because you also did say that we will still get the report after the 14th, and that will be the report that we can take to the House of Parliament. Is that understanding correct, or almost correct?
Thank you very much. I mean, the apprehension raised by the members is well appreciated. 14th is only next week, and the full report with all the annexures would be coming, so that when they apply themselves, they have all what it takes, and also the kinds of directions that we will have provided. So to me, I do think that we just appreciated the opportunity to say this is the investigation we conducted, and this is the opportunity given to the minister. Whatever is provided would also be attached to the report itself. Thank you very much. Otherwise, we would be happy to get guidance from the committee itself. We are flexible. We are the extended arm of Parliament anyway. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honourable Chairperson. So, Honourable Ramaila and colleagues, you have heard. We have next week. We get the full report. I understood you, Honourable Ramaila, to be saying that we don't want it or just on email, right? You want the report to be presented to us. Final presentation that can go live thereafter. Okay. That is the guidance then, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Thank you to the honourable members and the PSC. There's a lot of now clarity on the expectation of PSC in its directions. Ours was to just make sure that what the PSC said on the minister was requested to liaise with the implicated parties, provide comments on the PSC report within 21 days of this provisional report. So that was just about all, which we are almost concluding that, because we did not want, once we were behind PSC schedule, we did not want to leave anything behind that might come back to haunt us, especially as part of the advice from PSC. So we are clearer now because we've received all those presentations. So I guess we'll meet our deadline that we requested, the 14th. We might get there even far before that. So I want to assure that we are reading from the same page, PSC. Chair, about the DPSA. DPSA did not mislead. If you look at our report, the presentation of GST indicates misunderstanding that was later corrected after engagement between the department. Hence, the post was drawn, that is the advert, after advice by an engagement with the presidency. And therefore, now President minute has been received and we approve. Honourable Chair, on the forensic, we will be advised accordingly. However, the forensic report was damning again about the food aid. The food aid went to Eastern Cape requesting me to because and something that to deal with and allowed her until. Chair, the letter of the 12th of March to the President, the correspondence was received after my engagement in making some clarity on how I followed everything. So far as the known DG's contract, that was to an end. Chair, the panel presented its recommendations, DPSA, and it becomes the DPSA that brings the matter. So the cabinet deals with the matter and look at everything like it and came up with a 1 year. That's the cabinet, that's not my. So the cabinet look at the whole matter holistically, and then and this is why then they had a 1 year. Ministers have no role in that. Chair, on the 14th of October 2025, the department would not given disciplinary proof. The DG is a custodian of the discipline himself. What I presented, that I asked for the representation so that I could advise whether I should, what needs to. The conduct of was regularized immediately. It was picked up after the interaction itself and the minister, and the minister himself took upon himself to accept that this was. And this is why it's the minister of who wrote it for me to submit to ethics and for me to make sure that I clarify them with it, which I did beyond the last day of March, because he's whether we will be able to investigate further if there was money about those who left the department. So the report will then guide, as the chairperson honorable is saying, we can then be able to say what then needs to. Hence earlier on I said we had to consult when that time came of us had released the pensions and all that is on what case, and we were advised not to proceed because we would not have concluded the report that informed us whether indeed DG must be liable for the wasteful. that. So that is the issue of the household allowance in the DSD letterhead. The ministerial handbook determines allowance of ministers. It was not meant for the forensic investigation. I've said it's damning, and the Public Service Commission can have that. Our Honorable Mahato's advice and counsel, Chair, I accept fully on all what the allegation must be treated as such. I was here to set the record straight. That's why I'm here. That's why I committed from the onset that I will come give the and on Umama Bishop Msweni ordered the team to prepare the report and submit. I was under the impression that my office has submitted, however, which can happen in the next 48 hours, because that has been done. It's there, it can be submitted. Chair, I insist I did not mislead Parliament, and I still said I relied to the ethics. About the matter of cars, I'm not going to court back there, the fact that I mislead Parliament. So ethics, ventilate that as the members. Chair, about the role of appointing staff in them. Of course, I got the counselling and guidance from the PSC, which I'm taking very seriously, to come closer and make sure that whether the matter can be taken to protect her or not, it's upon this government parent and make sure that we avoid where food expenditure has been picked up and done, whether by the executive authority or by. I agree with that. The appointment, the department, and the teacher's contract, as I have explained, was regularized. That's why he's no longer in. We correct what the PSA said was an error. We corrected. It had no financial impact for the fact that it was corrected at the point, and it did not really create any of that. The secondment of the former chief of staff, Honorable, if I may ask that, Sis Zanele was my chief of staff, appointed as such. But Section 14(1)(a), the Public Service Act, allowed me to just shift to be elsewhere. This was informed by the fact that I needed to make it, but I did not have ammunition to act on her. She did accept her transfer. She consented in terms of 40 points. So I remember she wrote with a pen in the acting letter, and she wrote, I'm reading, I accept the transfer is in terms of the law, which indeed. Chair, the Section 14 does not distinguish between staff in ministry and staff. It says any employee. I guess the work that is being done by Public Service will ventilate on those for us to be clearer going forward. Chair, remind to respond to Mama Cho. Chair, Honorable Cho, I'm sorry. Chair, this matter has been in the media platform. I will sometimes receive some because they were everywhere else. And sometimes people will send me some, and sometimes I'll get to hear from everybody. I did at some point receive one, which was a little bit worrisome. It was worrisome that it spoke about quite pertinent things for me and what was going on around my life and what was going on into the office. Chair, one of those, I'll just for this partner. This that I'm going to read is written to one of the food aid, the one who was in. I'm reading. Hi Pindi, ngulumka obesebenza noZanele ndizama ukufona. The other one on the other side. Andikho sekhaya ngoku ndisemzini from elsewhere. It's okay, fine. Uyakwazi uthetha ngomso. Mamela ke. Kukho igqwetha elifuna uninceda noMarhadebe. Sizothetha nalo ngoku ngo8. Nawe sikufake okanye uright uyazenzela for free. This is supposed to be two people talking between each other about this matter. I am now taking you to the audio.
Chair, just a question. Is the minister allowed to do this when the person she's speaking about is not here to give their side of the story or to defend themselves?
No, the many people that are not here have been spoken about. So we can't. That rule is very late now to.
I'm sorry, Chair, I did not hear the.
Honourable members, what the minister is doing is responding to a specific question that was asked by an honourable member. How is the minister supposed to respond to that? No problem. I understand.
akho problem ne but ke njengoba bendishilo andana babugena yaphelela mhlawumbe ke singa-eda as well nawe uncedisa bakwazi ukuncedisa nizokwenza into zena ukuthi nanithuthele kanjani phayana wahamba kanjani wena nawe na imali yakho yayithathwa njengomali because this guy wants to take it forward into yini. Okay, sure. Ndiyakuva ke mna ke ndiyakuva ke lo mntu uzawusincedisa sihambe so usizanele akayikhumbuli ukuba xa sixoxa ezinkundleni like mna nakula mca xa sixoxa ezinkundleni usizanele uzobandakanyeka ayifike ihlale loo nto kakuye ngoba kaloku ekugqibeleni kosuku umama hayi andithi uMamTolashe urayithi uyayibona ungandiva kabuhlungu andithi urayithi uMamTolashe ekugqibeleni kosuku ufuna le nto siyivelele nkalo zonke uMamTolashe akazange wathela imdaka kwindlelo yemali uyayiva uba imali yathi imali ithiwa ithini kanti wayethetha nam ngosizanele uyayibona yonke into mna xa ndithetha ndizayithethisela kuzanele yonke into eyenzekayo enzeke udibanisa uzanele so yena ke iyawuba nguye kodibana nomama uyayibona ngolo hlobo bebesenza ngalo ekugqibeleni kosuku ndiyabukela kwezindabeni umama ivela bethinana ndiyabukela umama ivela kwezindabeni kweento zezinto zenzekayo iwari yam wona umama umdala Tolashe umdala kuzo zonke izinto zimehlela engumntu omdala and umama uTolashe ezinto bezisenzeka ezenza ukuthi nozanele beyiphathi embhaseli yayo loo nto abe bezidila naye ngomlo ngosisifanele ufana nento yokokuba uba besiza kumangala mna uba befuna ngiyafuna uTolashe bengingazukwazi ukumangalela uMama uTolashe ngoba ngizange nathetha nto noMama uTolashe ngandithetha noSizanele ekugqibeleni kosuku uSizanele ukuphuma kuTolashe usezandleni zakhe akukho sezandleni zomuntu obangela uba mina ngilapha ekhaya sign contract ka5 years nasebenza inyanga abayi-1 ngilapha ekhaya for the sake of uSizanele owayendithola isithi mna ndinguphindi wentete ndithandana namapolisa mna ndinguphindi wentete ndihlala ebupoliseni banepicture bekaphindiwe undini eyohlala namapolisa athethe isikwere iilanguage zabo endingazaziyo mna ndinguphindiwe iphinde ndibe nesimbiso yabo wayengandikhupha uSizanele emsebenzini wayendikhupha wafaka abantu uSizanele emveni kokukhupha emsebenzini ngoba bandikhuphe ngani wafaka abantu bemili yakhe but now ngoku xa enedabi nomama uTolashe wayefuna ulwelwa sithi amadabi ebengakhange thina asilwele ngoba kaloku uthi yena uTolashe bethetha kuye wayengathanda uTolashe uthetha kuye eze kuye azothi phinde ungakwazi endabeni ukuzinto zakho zibuye zonke imali zami zabuya zonke but andimandi ngezo mali and ngeke ayifumane imali yayo imali yona shame ngayithatha ndiyitye kodwa not uba ndibone ezikhundleni umdala la mama mna sisi apha ngafundiswa into yokuba umuntu omdala ndimhloniphe ngazibiza ngoba ndiyakholwa ndiyikrestu xa ungumntana kaThixo ke sisi awukwazi ukwenza izinto eziphikayo indlela kaThixo thina singabantu balapha ezantsi emhlabeni sithatha uYesu sithatha uYesu sibenza ishelter yoba senza amayibubu wethu sawukuba singuYesu ngicela ke sibuyiseni ingqondo zethu uSizanele akayijonge le nto makana uba kayifika ngaphi izawufika ithini kayifika ngaphi izawufika ithini kanti uSizanele makangalilwa idabi lakhe angasifaki thina baqeshwa bakaTolashe asiyeke ngohlobo sitheni ngalo wesikhupha emsebenzini ngoku wayifundwa idabi lakhe wayuSizanele senza ngolo hlobo enza ngalo umdala la mama uyangqungqutheka ngezinto ezenza noZanele uZanele esondele emsebenzini namhlanje bekathatha umama omdala ayomisa ekudleni zamatyala kungoba lo mama funeka ndingwefile na xa efika mama izavela vele zizolinika ntoni.
Okay, it sounds like it's now a repeat of the same.
Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. As I was responding, I think you managed to get. Can I be allowed to respond? The committee will take charge of that.
But please just allow the minister to respond in the way that she has prepared.
Yes. So I just wanted to give you the gist of the question that was asked by Sisisi, and I have no business to interpret for the.
Okay.
The committee can then take that and interpret for itself.
Okay.
In closing, Chair, if the Chair remembers.
Chair, can we, for once, respect the decorum of this House, please?
Thank you, Chair. With a lot of respect, I must. In closing, Chair, when we came as the department to come and present on the matter of Misane, the members, and when I raised the matter of that department to the public, the honourable members seated indicated that they received stacks and stacks of information from the officials. And that day, the honourable member made mention of one of our from where she was getting that. She made mention of that when she was confirming the allegation that I had. That it's like at the DSD, you have a desk, whether you want to call it City Press or Sunday Times or what's it, Daily Maverick, you have that on a permanent basis in our department. I found it there, and at the time I said, I don't think I have, because for me it talks to how the officials are conducted. The members here confirm that their phones are full with the information that they're getting officials about the matters that were under by the department. So this matter that Honorable Cho is asked is now, as I've heard this one, only this one, I don't know others. It talks to what was said by honorable members, which at the time we are honorable. Allow us to bring this before you procedurally, and you'll be able to deal with and give us guidance and counsel on how best. It's like, Chair, was seated something that was longer that is now coming at play at this time, which all of us, especially me, my children, family, have been haunted by journalists, guns, wanting daughters now to. However, this is what I am going through, Chair, and I must anytime, even the matter of 3 million. I guess I must take that responsibility. It just went to cracks. It's there. It is a matter. We went to the committee of appeation because they also had an interest. We did appear before them. We're still awaiting their son. We also said let's also take note of what the AG is going to say in picking up those things that might be wasteful of anything. But we are building on because the committee, remember, we did bring a narrative. You said we want a report blow by blow, rands and cents. This is what we are still committed in, and I want to profusely apologize. This time around, I did gonna be brought to your send it in 7 once we are all sure whether we have been able to show that this is now ready. Chair, I refute the authenticity of the contract letter. I still want that. Honorable James said for documents and so on. That solves, but I can say he don't have you very much the opinion.
Thank you so much, Honourable Chairperson. I just want to, for the benefit of the colleagues, obviously, because although the question was asked by Honourable Chong, but they are members, as it always happens with the Honourable Bishop, that we allow other members to also understand what is being said. The question, the answer to the question by Honourable Chong and the voice note that was going on there. It was a voice note of 2 ladies that were talking about being asked if they can be helped with legal support to take their matters to court or something like that. And the lady who was being asked was saying, please leave me out of, I am not going to do anything to the Honorable Minister because I am very respectful. Honorable Minister is a senior person, and I was brought up to respect senior people, and I'm also a Christian. I will not get involved. Whomever it is that has got issues with the Honorable Minister must do their own thing to report things and so on. That is what that was not. I just thought, for the benefit of the people that do not understand, I happen to understand this course because it's very close to Uluso, and I've been doing it in the committee. Right. Now we have had our questions and we've had our answers. I believe that, and I want to take the opportunity of the chairperson being here, Honorable Chairperson of the PSC being here, that to find out the following. Is it proper for this, and I'm asking that the members of the committee can also, comment on that. Is it proper for this committee to refer the food aid thing to the PSC for investigation? And also, I would like the committee to monitor the completion of all these things that are in arbitration, ethics committee. The PSC will get the report next week, test, and so on and so forth, because we have this oversight model that where we say we get report as things are being done. There are a lot, for what I heard, from the PSC, that is going to be consequence management. We need to stay close to that and to monitor it and get report as these consequence management processes are taking place. And of course, the minister has also already told, confirmed that we will be getting the New York trip itemized cost for that. And and the copy of the forensic report. Those are the things that I'm proposing, honourable members, for us to take out of this meeting. Because although this meeting has shed some light, especially from the side of the PSC and the Honourable Minister, but we know that we are dealing with a report that is basically practically complete on the side of the PSC, save for what has been the courtesy that has been extended to the Honourable Minister, and then we know that by the end of this month we will have this report on our desks. But we have also asked that the Honourable Chairperson or his team of commissioners and investigators can come and present to us what would ostensibly be the final.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, Honourable Chairperson, and honourable members. Indeed, on the issues of the help, if it involves public servants, surely it is within our scope. And what we ordinarily do, should it involve the minister, we work closely and have an MOU with the public protector and refer cases for the public office bearers there. So it would be within that ambit. And we would also appreciate receiving the forensic report on the issue of the DG or the other officials involved, because those are public servants. And we will then reflect and report back to the committee once we've made the findings. And what is most important in all these exercises should not just be who is found guilty, where we keep cleaning the floor because the roof is leaking, but to say what are the systemic issues that we should go to all departments where this thing is happening and begin to say, do we have adequate systems, safeguards, filters, as well as the laws in place? Because that is our approach now, because it turns out to be very expensive to be dealing with one case at a time. But when we look at the systemic issues, and we've also raised a hand and worked with the departments to say, if you have governance failures and challenges, please let's work together to change the systems. So it's not a matter of saying we found you guilty on this, but rather how do we make sure that we emerge out of this with a proper governance system and effective department. Thank you.
I thought we had come to the end. Honourable James?
Thank you, Chair. My questions weren't answered by the Minister, because this defies the entire purpose of a question and answer session if our questions aren't being answered. I asked about payments that were made to the Minister's daughter, and the Minister said nothing about that. Thank you, Chair.
Honourable Minister?
I did say something, Chair, that I was not aware of. Thank you.
Honourable Sharif?
Chair, I also asked the Minister, is she saying that she did or she didn't sign the DG's contract? Another question she didn't answer. And if I go through all of my questions, there's probably more questions that weren't answered. And even if I submit a written question, it's not going to be answered because they haven't responded to questions since February. However, Chair, that aside, I just wanted to go on your recommendation, that I agree with your recommendation about the way forward. I think and as I mentioned to the Prof, that if they can just please investigate this one in the beginning of my input, that would be a really good idea. And Chair, you then said that it's been eye-opening. It hasn't been for me because we haven't gotten answers from the minister. We haven't gotten clear answers from the minister. Deflection is the name of the game. So apart from that, I agree with everything else you said, and I'm just seconding you, Chair.
Honorable Sharif, please tell me what question has not been answered. The minister is still here.
I asked her, did she or didn't she sign the contract for the DG? Because she had said that she implied that they used her electronic signature because she wasn't aware of it. So did she or didn't she sign the contract? And then the second one is she says that she only disciplinary process only happened to the DG after she spoke to the president. The president wrote to her on the 12th of March, but there is a media release that is dated the 14th of October 2025, where she speaks about disciplinary of the DG. So what is the truth? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much,
Minister.
Honourable Chairperson. I did not sign the DG's 5-year contract. My electronic signature was attached to that. That's what informed me to call for a forensic investigation.
While you were out, but I'm sure the nearly said Honourable Brooke, you did take the notes of the things that we were asking, and one of them was getting the copy of the forensic report, right? And the minutes. Oh yes, thank you, Acting DG. And also, yeah. So as you also heard, Honourable DG, are you going to send it directly to the Honourable Chairperson of the PSC, the forensic report? Okay.
Thanks, Minister. We've noted the request from the PSC. Chair, we've already processed it through DTG Puka, but it will come to the Minister's office. Thanks. And I've already provided a date when it should be submitted to the PSC. Okay.
That sounds to me like we have, at least for today, come to an end of this meeting. I am now hesitant to ask the honourable members to stay because we have a report now that we are bordering on working on a report for the term that has not been adopted by this committee, with today being such a day. So may I please ask, it will not be longer than 10 minutes. If it hits 10 minutes, just walk out. Don't worry. So yes. So thank you so much, Honourable Minister and Honourable DM and your teams for having come through and stayed for as long as you have so that we can exhaust at least what we had on our agenda today. Please, can we have 1 minute? One meeting. And also, Honourable Chairperson, thank you so much for your time. I know for you and the commissioners and the investigators, I really appreciate your time that you've spent here today because I know how busy you must be working in the space that you are working in, and all the teams that have come here, all our stakeholders. I would like to thank you and appreciate your time today. And we hope that, as you heard, this was a progress report. There will be more reports coming, and we hope that you will be with us even at those times. But for now, I would like to detain the honourable members, and the rest of the meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much. Honourable members, I promised you 10 minutes, and that time starts now. Please. Lindiwe is going to present to us the report that I really would like. I'm hoping that we can adopt it today because we are really now bordering on being illegal, unlawful or illegal, because even today is part of the report of a program that you have not adopted. Go ahead, Lindiwe.
But approved by the House Chairperson, so we are still with you. Thank you very much, Chair. Today, I won't repeat the last week's one. And then today, we just received presentation from PSC as well as from Pool. We will receive a presentation from the Department of Social Development on the progress made on the drafting of the Children's Amendment Bill. So there was a resolution that we need to monitor that on a quarterly basis. So on the 13th, they will come before us and present the progress report. In the same meeting, Chair I will consider and adopt 2 reports. One, the last week's report on APP of DSD and its entity, and then the second report will be a report from the UK study tour. And then, Chair, I just want to remind the members that this committee is scheduled to debate Vote 19, which is DSD, on the 19th of May, and the venue is at Good Hope Chambers from 2 o'clock. Chair, the 20th, we will have a joint meeting with the social services to receive a briefing from CDA, and also there will be on issues raised during the presentation of CDA. If you will recall, early this year we received a report from CDA on the annual report. In the same meeting, Chair, we'll have a briefing from Social Development on the recruitment of the CDA board members, as we are aware that the term of office of CDA board has come to an end, so we just need to get clarity as to the process thus far. Chair, the 27th of May. Chair, also on this, the 20th, just to bring the attention of the committee that the 20th, the human settlements, which is within our cluster, social services, they are also having a debate from 10 o'clock, but will submit an application to be approved. Because normally when a department in the same cluster is having a debate, it is encouraged that our committee members must support that budget vote. So that one is subject to the approval. Chair, the 27th of May will also receive our standing agenda item. No, it's a new one. The DSD will also brief the committee on its first quarterly report on key interventions it is implementing in response to President Ramaphosa's classification of GBVF as a national disaster. Also, we also requested that the briefing should also include interventions implemented to curb substance. Chair, we move to the 3rd of June, and then this is a standing obligatory meeting to ensure that the department is spent according to their APPs. Will receive the fourth term quarterly report on the financials and non-financials performance of the DSD, which is January to March 2026. Also, Chair, there's a standing agenda item. We'll also get a progress report on the drafting policy of the Universal Basic Income Grant. Chair, on the 10th of June, this committee has been identified as one of the committees for the Oversight Parliamentary Plan, OPP. Chair, in this meeting we have invited the PC on Public Works and Infrastructure to brief us on the of infrastructure requirements for SASSA. If you recall, members, when we conducted our oversight in KZN, there were offices that were in a not a desired accommodation. So because of that, we also think it is important to get some comments from the Public Works Department. We also said that the presentation must focus, but not limited, on the department's mandate and roles in managing state-owned properties and assets, policy framework on infrastructural needs of SASSA across all regions, existing collaboration with SASSA and DSD, and any other related information. It's safe to say, Chair, I did have discussion with the Portfolio Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure. They indicated their availability to attend this meeting. Chair, we have a committee week allocated for our committee, which is Group B, the 17th to 19th of June, and then the oversight will be on focus on SASSA offices to assess infrastructure and vision. Also, there will be infrastructure, Chair, and also we'll also look at the child malnutrition organization that will be in the Eastern Cape. Thank you very much, Chair. This is the draft program for this committee to consider and adopt. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Lindiwe, for that. Honorable Sharif.
Sorry, Chair. The last one, Chair, is the 24th of June, where we'll receive a briefing from Small Business Development on skills program for women and victims of GBV and to demonstrate how SITAs can assist these women and link them to economic opportunities. Remember, members, the small business was invited some time ago, but unfortunately the minister, the deputy minister, and the DGs were not present, and then the committee decided that they won't proceed. So now we're inviting them to come back and present to the committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lindiwe. Members, this is for us to adopt. Honorable Sharif.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I am going to try every single avenue I get, whether it's writing to you, whether it's trying to add onto the draft program, whatever avenue I can to add a parliamentary inquiry into the minister, if we can add that onto our program. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Sharif. At this stage, I think it would be very preemptive to be thinking about inquiries, because as you heard earlier, we have a forensic investigation report that has been given to us. We are waiting for PSC report, final report somewhere this month. We are waiting for the ethics committee report. We are waiting for the arbitration and so on and so forth. I think to override all those things and say inquiry, it would be so preemptive. It would be like, I've heard everything, but all I want is inquiry. I think that would be my take. Honorable Mahato.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think as this committee, we must just adopt this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mahato. Any seconder?
Seconder, Chair.
Thank you. You don't agree? You don't agree?
Chair, I don't agree with the justification you just gave, because if I take today as an example, I don't feel like the minister accounted completely and fully. And I don't feel like normal portfolio committee meetings has enough time and space for the minister to come under oath and tell us exactly what is happening. So whether there is this, there's that, it doesn't stop us as the portfolio committee to operate, to do what our mandate is, which is to do proper oversight on the minister. And so I don't agree that we must wait for all of these things to happen. People are not waiting. They don't have time to wait for this SASSA grants. They don't have time to wait for assistance and for them to be able to put food on the table. And so for me, a parliamentary inquiry is the best opportunity to bring the minister to account, because today, if we go through today, the minister barely answered any of our questions. So that's, in that instance, I disagree with you, Chair. But I will take your lead and take it from there. And I will continue pushing for a parliamentary inquiry.
Okay, all right. No, that's fair enough. Lindiwe, you want to to provide some procedural
Yes, Chair.
support.
Yes, I think it's important, members, to note as much as we been conferred powers to exercise oversight over the executive, we might take cognizance that there are other structures that have a responsibility to play in addressing certain things. So, for this committee, whilst we have information which is not final, we have reports that are not conclusive, we have reports that are in the arbitration, and so on. And we also made a critical recommendation for the matter of food aid to go to the PSC, which we need to get a report on that at a later stage. I think for us to have parallel processes, might be deemed as undermining the structures or the body that are dealing with these issues. So let's wait and have a conclusive findings on these matters that are before these different structures for this committee to take a decision. And even for inquiry, you need to have clear terms of reference. We need to conduct our investigation, etc. Do we have that capacity to do that? And how are we going to justify that? Whereas these matters that we want to have an inquiry on are somewhere else, are being handled with different structures. So I also agree with the chairperson that let's wait for all these matters to be conclusive, and then for this committee to take an informed decision as to whether they want to go to the inquiry, and then we also do our necessary research as to how can you go about in terms of a committee inquiry and have clear terms of reference that would not encroach other bodies that are busy with this matter. So for now, I think the chairperson is advising the right direction, that let's wait all these processes to be conclusive for us to take a decision to have an inquiry which is informed by the findings and recommendation from these statutory bodies. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Lindiwe, for that guidance. I don't see any other hands. I only see a head that is shaking, and that is properly allowed. This is a member of this committee and a member of parliament, so you have every right to, as you said, you will do everything that you can. You've started now with saying we must do this. I have given you a response that you are not agreeing with. You are totally allowed to seek other avenues. We have received procedural support as well from a person whose role is to do just that, to give procedural support. And so let's just keep going, is my advice. And may I please then take the opportunity to declare this meeting adjourned. And thank you all so much.